Hello everyone, welcome to the FSK Invitational. Tonight we're live for the finale. We've had 4 fantastic nights through the week. We had groups 1 to 8 all competing. There was banger fights every single night. But for the finale today I'm joined with Kingsley. How are you doing, Kingsley?
I'm doing great, man. I'm super excited for this Saturday night. Just incredible invitational. Already getting to the finale. I'm ready to get in some fights, man.
Luba, how are you doing?
Ricardo, man, happy to be here. I love money tournaments. I love when people are playing to win, and that's what you get when there's cash on the line. Thanks for inviting me, man.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. So without further ado, let's get into the group winners. So last night we had groups 4 and 5, Leaks and KM Noetta coming out on top. Um, I mean, Noetta was one of the standout performers in the group stages. We've seen his performance against Caliber and then his absolute demolition of Aaron. Leaks, I mean, he demolished Skitch, he demolished Lepo. All round great from Leaks there. The night before, we've seen J Robbo and Kezala. J Robbo took out ESFL veteran Yadar and KM Liam, one of the best strikers in the game. I mean, he done very well in both fights. The Yadar fight, absolutely flawless, took him out in round 1. And the Kezala group, he took out Grains and Jaker. I mean, both fights were so back and forth. Either fight could have gone either way. But, I mean, Kezala come through with a victory, so showing his experience in that one, getting it over the line. Then in the next one, we have Samurai Robin and FSK Optics. Robin, great performances, another one of the standout performers from the group stage. He took out Zane and Jamie Bucks. I mean, both performances from Robin were great. He took little to no damage in either fight. And in the other group as well, FSK Optics, he took out one of the most known players in the community in Dirty Dave. Got a 3rd round finish. I mean, I don't think anyone really picked him to do it. And it was a big shock to everyone, so it was a great performance from him, that one. And then in the first group stages that we've done, it was JC21 who took out Competitor and Hooker. I mean, Hooker gave him trouble, Competitor gave him trouble, but come out of it on top. Both fights could have gone either way, but JC showing his veteran experience in that one and took him out. In the Ababe and Ash one, we seen him absolutely destroy Bossman. And then the Peace My High fight was very back and forth as well. Ash showing his veteran experience in that one. But without further ado, let us get into the prize pool for tonight. Tonight is the $300 total prize pool. The last man standing will walk away the biggest prize of all, $200 and the title of the winner of the FSK Invitational. And then we also have 2 other prizes as well. We have the bounties drawn randomly from either side of the graphic. If you beat the person with a bounty, you win $20. If the person holding the bounty makes it out of round of 16 and the quarter final, they will then claim the bounty. So that'll be $20 for either bounty, one from either side. And then the performance bonus will be awarded to the player who put on the greatest performance throughout the finale. It'll be voted by me, Kingsley, and Luber at the end of the night, and that'll be $60. So keep an eye out for that one. I mean, the people who might not always be in the chance to win it will have some chances to win money in the performance bonus and the bounty, so it's going to be interesting to see how that one takes place. And then without further ado, let's go into the information screen. Kingsley, if you'd like to just name the rules for us.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's the rules for the FSK Invitational. We have some banned submissions. You can't do the rear naked choke in any ground position, standing guillotine, side saddle, triangles, mounted go-go plata, windshield choke, all banned submissions. And then also the exploits. Here's what we're going to be banning for this invitational as well. Unblockable cage strikes, mount bobbleheading, throwing hooks while staying in the back clinch exploit, and the double up kick are all banned. So if you get one of those exploits or you try to do them, you're going to have an instant DQ if any ban technique is attempted. Now, going to the format, Ricardo, I'll take that to you.
Yep, so the round of 16 to the semi-final, the better seed in each matchup will have 2 choices to pick from going into each fight. You can either choose to pick the weight from the 2 options, or let their opponent pick the weight and they get to ban a fighter for both competitors in the matchup. If the better seed does decide to let their opponent if the better seed decides to pick the weight, the opponent does not get the ban. The only time a ban will occur is if the better seed lets the opponent pick the weight, and then that's when they get to ban a fighter for both of them. In the final, the better seed in the final will be able to decide if they want to choose the weight from the 3 options or pick the first fighter in the final. The final will be a best of 3, there'll be no mirrors, and once you've used a fighter, you can't use them again. Luba, if you'd like to tell us the weight classes for tonight.
Yeah, you see most of these weight classes here in that bantamweight to middleweight range that is seen as the competitive kind of zone. A couple oddballs in there though. For the round of 16, you got middleweight and flyweight. See some flyweight fights come out. That'd be fun. Quarterfinals, we'll get the featherweights and the light heavyweights. Be very interesting to see if anyone tries to pull off something at light heavyweight. Then, of course, you get to the semifinals. Things are getting thick. You got bantamweight and welterweight. And then we'll take it home with either a lightweight matchup, a welterweight matchup, or middleweight. All three fights in the finals will be fought at the same weight class.
I mean, I like what you said there about the light heavyweight. If anyone tries to get that there, I mean, a lot of people didn't expect it, but we had Fad versus Ed Parker in the last tournament that was dragged to light heavyweight, and we also had Young Paul versus Suave Jamie at light heavyweight. So you might not think it is a favourable weight, but the people who don't like to face pressure strikers, it massively neutralises the pressure strikers. So maybe we see the patient strikers like the likes of Ed Parker, Young Pacina, them kind of fighters who fight in that style. Maybe we'll see them go for the higher weight classes where it is a lot slower. But without further ado, let's get into the seed for tonight. So the seed order, that is the seed order 1 to 16. So obviously Dabican, the number 1 seed, that is who you want to be. Trixer, the number 16 seed. I mean, it's not your most favoured position, so obviously the higher up in that seed order, the better you will be coming into this tournament. Kingsley, how do you feel about the seed order? Like, what kind of matchups do you think that's going to create for everyone?
I feel like it's very interesting. Usually in regular tournaments, you see the seed order, you see a 1 through 16, but it's very interesting that we're seeing it in this invitational tournament that the seed order dictates of what order to choose, not like a heads or tails situation, but the first seed gets the position to be have an advantageous situation where they can either pick the weight class or even pick the fighter. So I feel like it's really unique, and I'm really excited to see where it goes for comparison. I mean, Dabican, the guy we pick, I mean, you face them in one of the fights. I mean, you're certain to know that you're already at a disadvantage from the get go.
I mean, thank you for that, Kingsley. But without further ado, let's get into the last 16 bracket. This is going to be the bracket for the finale. Obviously, on the left side, we see FSK Optics with a bounty. On the right side, KM Noweta with a bounty. So I'll just go into a little bit of detail with that, because obviously some people might not understand it. So if Dabican beats Optics, he will claim the $20. No one can steal it off him. If Optics beats Dabican and then fights Trixie or JC, and one of them beat him, they will claim the bounty. No one can take it off him. If Optics beats Dabican and then beats the winner of Trixie and JC, he will then claim the bounty and no one will be able to take it off him. But aside from the bounties, Luber, what's your standout matchups coming into this one?
Yeah, I mean, the seeding situation leads us to a very interesting bracket here where you're not seeing necessarily somebody say, okay, the best player goes in the top left. Instead, it was left up to the MMA gods. Things were drawn. And look at that bottom left quarter: Holloway, Jamie, Fadinator, Gamp. Whoever comes out of that part of the bracket is going through a murderer's row. I think they're going to be ready to go against whoever they face after that, be it Dabican or Optics or Trixie. I mean, it's a stacked tournament head to toe, but man, when we get into those fights, it's going to be real interesting.
I mean, I like what you said though. Whoever gets through that bottom left corner, you think they're going to be more prepared and ready to take on anyone. But Kingsley, obviously, if you've fought the likes of Gamp, Fad, Jamie Holloway, if you've had to fight them 2 massive fights earlier, do you not think it takes any kind of pressure on you? Like, it takes a toll on you. Your focus is going to be less going forward in the tournament.
Well, I feel like it does the opposite. If you get rid of the hardest competitor from the get go, I mean, you're winning with house money. You already taken away someone who could be a favorable person to win the whole tournament. So I feel like there's a lot of pros and cons to it, but you definitely want to get the jitters out of the first round. Because, you know, if you're out quickly, then sure, you don't have to worry about the rest of the tournament. But if you get one of those big competitors out, I mean, shoot, it could be anybody's tournament.
Without a doubt, without a doubt. I mean, without further ado, shall we get into the first fight of the evening? Obviously, it's going to be Trixie versus JC21. Luba, what's your thoughts on this one coming in?
Man, it's been a while since we've seen since I've personally seen JC21 competing for money in a matchup against Trixie to kick us off. I couldn't ask for anything better. I don't know who's going to win, and I'm excited to find out.
Obviously, we got Trixie, the primetime GOAT, one of the best there, former ESFL champion. And then we've got JC21, the youngest ever ESFL champion. Obviously, in his debut in the ESFL, JC21 fought on ESFL 100 against Trickster, and it was Conor McGregor versus Conor McGregor, if I'm not mistaken, and JC absolutely ran through Trixie. It was something to behold, really. So I think it's over a year since ESFL 100, so a year down the line, it'll be interesting to see how these two now match up, the evolutions in each person's game. But without further ado, I think the fighters are in the lobby, so let's just get into it. I mean, Kingsley, what's your thoughts on this one? It looks to be like it's going to be a Robert Whittaker mirror at middleweight. Who do you think this one favours in terms of the picks?
I mean, if you're going with a mirror match, it's going to be based upon your skills. And we both know these competitors are proven veterans in the spotlight of tournaments and also main fight cards. Going with a Whitaker match, I mean, you already have the stamina, you already have the striking ability. I feel like what's going to be dictating this whole kind of fight is the ground game, possibly. But, every time you stay in the fire selection screen, you could always change it. There's no locked in position just because you're waiting. But it seems like we are going to go locked into a mirror match. So I'm excited to see what happens. I mean, both guys, same stats. It's all about the skills from the six here, Luber.
Yeah, I will say, even if they weren't locked in quite when you started talking about it, as soon as that middleweight division came out, pretty good bet that you're going to see some Whitaker picks. I'm curious, Ricardo, do we know who chose the weight class and if there was a band that came out? I would imagine there wasn't.
So JC was the better seed, so obviously he had either option. JC picked the weight and middleweight, so there's no ban. It's just a standard middleweight fight in this one.
There you go.
All right, well, here we go. The first round of the FSK Invitational in the round of 16. Again, JC21 in the green trunks using the red gloves. Going against Trixie Ships in the blue gloves and the black trunks, and already fighting in the center of the octagon. A little bit of a patient process, but a nice left hook landing for Trixie. Trixie trying to get a little bit combinations going, but not really much doing as he's trying to land back, and people just throwing up uppercuts right here, Luber.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Trixie's approach is. He's very good about getting respect with his hands before he implements any kind of clinch or wrestling. But against JC, how long can you wait?
Oh!
You cannot wait that long. Apparently, there it is, the takedown coming out. He needed to get some momentum back in his favor. Trixie, real quick, eating that pull elbow.
I mean, I was wondering if Trixie would be looking to take this fight to the ground. Obviously, we've seen a takedown attempt there, but it was stuffed by JC. JC doing what he needs to do so far. He now seems to be pushing Trixie back against the cage. Taking control this one. Lovely combo from JC. What's your thoughts on this one, Kingsley?
Yeah, it seems like the pull elbow activated JC21's combinations, and now he's being a little bit more aggressive, able to land some combinations, and still taking a aggressive side as he's attacking the body a little bit more. But we see Trixie, he's no slouch. He's been in these situations before as we're getting to the halfway mark of the first round. So far, we need to see if Trixie's going to find his way back. Maybe try to go for another pull or maybe a little bit of a slide right here, Luber.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because the one thing that keeps grapplers alive in pretty much any fight they're in is that all it takes is a rock and a takedown to win a round, right? If you can sit on top with that, and you see the takedown here, but he can't win the round without getting a rock or significant damage on the ground. So we'll see what his strategy is for this round. And then going into this fight, how aggressive is he going to be at the start of each round?
I mean, we're looking at the health stats here, and JC does have a slight advantage. That is going to favour him in exchanges. So if it ever does get to a point where they're slanging it out in the pocket, you would think JC is going to have that advantage, though.
Yeah, and one main thing I'm seeing from both of these guys, every time they get closer, they just do a long, lengthened combination. They're always looking for those uppercuts when they get close.
Oh,
like right there!
Trixie sends him down!
Uppercut from Trixie, and now he's going up, and that would be a huge knockdown. So he might have just stolen this round right here, Luber.
Yeah, with the knockdown there, that cheeky lead uppercut, timed it up perfectly in the mid combination, caught him on the chin. That was beautiful stuff there from Trixie.
Yeah, and right now we're still getting closer. We still have plenty of time. 30 seconds left in this first round. We saw JC do so well in that first half of the first round right here, but Trixie able to take it back. Oh. Let's see if he can steal this round back. But getting the close uppercuts to the body is just not really landing. And with 8 seconds, I think we're just going to keep it low. No one's going to risk it. And my goodness, already a good start to this invitational right here, Ricardo.
I mean, that was a very big round one. We've seen rocks on both sides. We've seen Trixie get takedowns in that one. I really don't know who to score that one. Maybe that's something to keep in the back of the mind. You don't actually know who won round one. So if it is getting to the point where whoever wins this round, you would think then you'd need to take the third round just to make sure. Or
Yeah,
maybe
I
even
know
get a
some
finish.
people have that judging down to a T. They know who's going to win based off of, damage and rocks and knockdowns and everything. But that knockdown usually enough to secure it. But you do see JC still has the advantage in terms of health stats, which actually could just lead to a knockout. Maybe the decision won't even be needed.
Yeah, hopefully we don't have to go to the decision, because when this fight is over, one of these guys are out of the tournament. Another one would be moving on to the quarterfinals. Again, JC in the red gloves, trying to find his way back after getting knocked down in that first round. Trixie trying to put on the pressure and attack more of the body and leg kicks I've seen right there. And a nice uppercut landing for Trixie in the blue gloves.
I mean, one thing that you notice from Trickster, and you see it in all of his ESFL fights, one thing he's very good at is getting damage from nowhere. He'll just plant through a 5-piece combo, and then he'll get a rock on you from absolutely nowhere. So even though if Trixie looks like he's down in a fight, he can just literally plant and get a combination that's fight changing. So maybe that's something to keep an eye on in this one, Kingsley.
Yeah, absolutely. And already back to the stand-up, and let's
Ooh.
see if the combinations are flying hot and heavy for JC, trying to answer back. He knows the block gauge is low for Trixie, but Trixie, being a little bit patient, has his back to the octagon cage, tries to get in a clutch in, but not really doing much, as we see JC still putting on a little bit of pressure right here, Luber.
Yeah, he's applying pressure. It's almost a little predictable, though. Trixie doing a good job using those clinches, those takedowns to back him off. Yes, it is trouble for Trixie when his back's against the cage, but he's managing it very well right now, and he's forcing JC to pressure him. If JC wants to win this fight, he has to come forward. He has to land strikes, and this is a good competition right here. Both guys trying to do the same thing, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. And right now, we saw in that first round, it was 40-22 in favor of JC21, even though he got knocked down. So I feel like he feels confident with his striking, as a nice takedown denial lands for JC21, as Trixie's trying to find any avenue to get his opponent uncomfortable in this octagon right here. And a nice straight will happen to do that, as he's getting a lot of damage. So head health was bleeding a second right there, Ricardo. You have to think, Trixie, even though he's kind of down a little bit, he's still getting his combinations going.
I mean, Trixie's always dangerous. Like I said before, with the way how he can just plant and fire a 5-piece, he's dangerous at any time in the fight. I mean, I'm seeing him being tricky in the clinch right now as well. So he's really mixing it up everywhere, unlike JC. JC just seems to be striking. And ooh.
Big right hook.
Oh,
JC's putting on the pressure.
Nice.
I'll take keeps Trixie alive, though.
Oh, he's
Oh, another one.
Oh, he's down
Oh, again.
Taking off his feet.
JC21 getting the straight jab into the face of Trixie, and he moves on to the quarterfinals. What a good way to answer back from the second part of that first round and just put it on to his opponent right there, Luber.
Yeah, man, it was such a close fight, back and forth. Trixie doing his work, but JC found his spot, sat down on some punches, took advantage of all that accumulated damage from earlier in the fight, put him away. Terrific performance from JC there.
Yeah, and Ricardo, we saw a little bit of the fight stats right there. It was 70-45 with total strikes landed, and the judges actually gave JC21 the first round. The knockdown didn't really count as much because there was so much input going against Trixie. So how do you feel about JC21's performance going into the quarterfinals?
I mean, it was a great performance all around, really. I mean, he stopped all the takedowns from Trixie. Obviously, Trixie got a couple from the clinch, but JC was able to use that up kick, so he neutralised all the ground work really of Trixie, neutralised the clinches, sorry. And I mean, he looked flawless in the striking really when he was going forward. Obviously, Trixie had his moment there and then with like the straight uppercut interception JC as he was coming in, but all round it was as good as you can get really for JC.
Absolutely. And again, this is the FSK Invitational. You just saw the first fight between Trixie and JC21. JC21 moving on. And you can see cash prizes are abundance in this Invitational. You got a $200 winner spot. The bounties are on the line for people. And there's a performance bonus that's going to be happening at the end of this Invitational. But we are getting closer to our next fight, ladies and gentlemen. I think we have that ready. Are both fighters in the fire selection screen for FSK Optics versus Dabikin is on deck for us, guys?
Yes, it should just be up now. If you just give me 1 second.
Well, while we're still looking for, I mean, take a look at the bracket. As we said, well, Luber, you said the bottom left, that's just a killer's row of competitors. And just seeing what JC21 has to deal with going against possibly maybe Dabikin or Optics, JC21 has a lot to go through if he wants to go to that finals.
Oh yeah, I mean, first of all, he's gonna have to fight the winner of this next fight. If Dabikin wins, if I'm not mistaken, he gets $20 in his pocket right there. You know, Dabikin taking home some cash at ESFL Live just a little while ago. I'm sure he'd be add on to that. What I really like about this bracket is there are no weak spots, right? Every single fight we're going to get in the opening round here is going to be crazy. And that was a great one to start us off. I mean, I really enjoyed watching both guys kind of a high technical proficiency. And then you could see the mind games come out, right? It's not about who's pressing the buttons better. It's about who's actually beating their opponent, thinking ahead of them, setting up reads. And JC really did. I mean, he kept his cool. He faced some adversity, but you could tell when it came time to, buckle down and do his thing, he was able to do it. So I want to see who's going to perform today, who's going to show up and really play their best.
Yeah, and you have a very limited time to show your performance because this, to the finals, this is all a best of one. So you only get one shot, one opportunity to make a name for yourself. As I think our second fight is ready to go as Dabikin versus FSK Optics, who has a bounty on him for $20. He needs to show that he's ready to show up and show out and possibly move on to the next round because it's going to be a good one. It seems like we might have a Whitaker mirror match right here, Ricardo. How do you feel about this mirror match happening again?
I mean, Optics is a Robbie higher seed, so we let Optics pick the weight and then Dabikin band lower. So it's going to be the fight that Dabikin wants, really. Optics isn't getting his preferred fighter. So that is why we're seeing the Robert Whitaker mirror. If it was in Optics' preferred, I think he would be using Robbie Lawler right now, but it'll be interesting to see how this one goes. Obviously, Optics hasn't got his main fighter, so interesting to see how he fights with him here.
Mind games upon mind games, ladies and gentlemen, as we're on to the second fight of the FSK Invitational. Dabikin in the red gloves, using the green trunks, going against FSK Optics in the white trunks and blue gloves. And already we're seeing Dabikin taking the center of the octagon right here. And we're going hot and heavy with the combinations as we saw Optics trying to get in with a nice kick right there. Ricardo, you have to be impressed so far as action is going hot and heavy.
I mean, Optics is one of the most improved people in the community at the moment. We've seen him beat people like Matty D in primetime, who beat Dabikin in the SFL. We've seen him beat Dirty Dave in the FSK Invitational group stages. We've seen him beat Caliber in primetime as well, and we've seen him take a set off Leaks recently as well. So all round, he's improving. He's one of the most improved competitors in the community. So it'd be intriguing to see how he does against another big name in Dabikin tonight.
Yeah, and Luber, we know all about Dabikin. Dabikin is a proven champ. He is a proven fighter in so many other leagues, and he could bring it to his opponent. So with Dabikin, you know he's going to bring a lot to the table, but he's getting pieced up right now.
Both guys are looking real nice with their hands already. Some slick lunging jabs coming out, some nice timing on the hooks, catching them at the ends of their punches, no wasted motion. No big risks or anything. It's a great fight here. I wish we had more time to talk about it. I wish we were on the analyst desk today because this matchup we could spend time on. But yeah, man, I'm excited to see what Optics can do. Ricardo talking about his improvements, but I think he's always been, in terms of the mechanics of the game, he's always been up there. He just needs to round it out, get some experience, some mat time as they call it. And that may be what's happened. Maybe today's the breakout party. We'll see. He's looking good.
Yeah, he's looking good so far, and we're seeing Dabikin using those pulls to just preemptively trying to find his opponent to make a mistake right here. But Optics doing a nice job to implement some body shots, maybe some head kicks, trying to use the uppercut when he has to, but not really wasting all that energy. The stamina for both competitors are fairly even as we're getting to the later parts. And now Combinations trying to go in for Optics, but Optics still being patient, still trying to get away, but he gets punished with a nice combination from Dabikin here, Ricardo.
I mean, one thing this has reminded me of the approach from Optics, it's similar to the way our Mighty D fought Dabikin on the back foot, letting him come forward and intercept him as he come through. I don't think he is doing it as clean as Mighty D was doing, but it's still, the fight's in both of the guys' hands now. I mean, I think both of them can win it. I think Optics has to be careful for that double hooks moving forward. He's thrown it a few times now. Oh, and he's down!
He's feeling it! Dabikin getting loose, man.
He is getting loose. You said, I mean, we saw Dabikin. He had the combinations, and the black gaze was low. And a little bit of what Optics was doing, he was trying to slip and trying to get away from these strikes, but he kept on guessing wrong. Dabikin was able to find a way, but he enters back. Optics finding the kill, seeing the sights of his opponent's head, and able to rock his opponent. That has to give him some momentum with the last 10 seconds right here, Luber.
It was a nice shot, not a lot of follow-up damage, so you see the head health still cleanly in Dabikin's favor, but what a round to kick it off here.
Whew. I mean, both men showing they have it in them to win this fight. I mean, we've seen Dabikin with a knockdown, great combination, and Optics as well with a rock in at the end of the round. You would think it still goes to Dabikin purely because a knockdown outweighs a rock, but I mean, both men capable of winning this one.
Well, we saw in that last fight that JC21 was able to win with total strikes landing, even though he got knocked down. So we'll have to see as he is waiting in the wings of this Dabikin Optics matchup. And we see Dabikin, he's put on the aggressive side, trying to get those jabs in, trying to disrupt the blockades a little bit. But Optics is no slouch. He's going to press forward. He's going to try to find his way back into this fight. He's able to land some combinations. But again, significant strikes landed is 13. But he needs to do a little bit more and put these combinations together as he tries to go for a head kick there, Luber.
Yeah, Kingsley, you mentioned the jab that Dabikin's using. I love the way he's doing it. The thing is, he got caught with a pull, right?
Oh! He got caught with that!
Dabikin's using the Jabikin. The Jabikin.
The Jabikin. Oh my god, that has to be trademark. Let's do it.
He's using it to find his rage and get inside, and then as soon as he feels Optics getting eager, getting antsy, looking to counter, he alarms. Look at that! A huge shot. He might put him away here.
Rifle in his arms. Oh, go ahead, Ricardo.
Oh, he gets the reversal. This could be big now for Optics.
Absolutely. I mean, he had a rifle in his hands, able to snipe his body, and now we're into the ground game. This could be a little bit of a nice change for Optics. I mean, he doesn't want to be back in that stand-up getting pieced up right here. So if he can just get some ground and pound, get some momentum back, and get some striking on the head, it could be a little bit different right here, Ricardo.
I mean, a lot of people don't know it, but Optics' grappling is very good. We've seen him neutralize Dirty Dave, and we've seen him absolutely out-wrestle Matty D recently as well.
Ooh!
Big head kick there. He needs to chill out with these double hooks, or maybe look for like a straight lead uppercut or a straight lead hook. Intercept him as he's coming through, because these double hooks, they aren't working the best for him at the moment.
Yeah, and he's trying that ducking roundhouse, and Dabikin's just not having it, blocking it every time cleanly. It really looks like this striking battle, it maybe, you know, on paper when they're starting out a fight is close, but that head health advantage for Dabikin is so significant. I don't know what Optics can do here to bring himself back into this fight.
Yeah, it seems like he's trying to come in close and trying to find his way. I mean, he's landing with the straight. He is landing with straight, and the head health is taking damage, and the uppercuts are landing. He just needs to not make a mistake, not go for the crazy head kick. And he'll hit with a left hook right there. As we see Optics coming back, able to land, but the uppercut changes the things. 40 seconds left. Dabikin trying to answer back, trying to survive this round as Optics is putting on his opponent. But with 30 seconds, let's see what happens here. Rounds the gun. Another rock landing. Optics low on stamina. 20 seconds left. Optics, will he try to go for the kill, or will he try to survive? Going to the third and final round. Uppercut landing for Dabikin. Dabikin answers back. Does he have enough time to finish it? He won't. And we will go into the third and final round. My God, Luber.
Insane, Kingsley. Both guys knocking each other down. Back and forth they go. Momentum swinging wildly in either direction. We got a fight on our hands. And right here to start the...
Oh my goodness, we just saw an amazing maneuver. Uppercuts landing, Optics going on the prowl, smelling blood, water, gets it again!
He's done it!
And that is it! Optics, the bounty kid, lands it again, and he moves on to the quarterfinals to go against JC21 right there, Ricardo.
I mean, that was absolutely unbelievable from Optics there. I mean, we've seen him with the early adversity. He fought through it, fought his way through, picked his shots. I mean, that was absolutely unbelievable from Optics. I mean, he's took out Dirty Dave and Dabikin so far. So, I mean, that resume, it can't really get any better. I mean, unreal performance from Optics there.
Kingsley was talking earlier about how you get one chance, one opportunity, and I know after a fight like that and their knees are weak and their palms are sweaty, that was an incredible win by Optics in a cash tournament against one of the biggest names in this game. Awesome. And like we were saying, this may be his coming out party. This may be his breakout tournament. Huge, huge win there.
And the biggest thing, correct me if I'm wrong, but we talked about before, Dabikin, he's the #1 seed. He let his opponent choose the weight class, but he banned the Robbie Lawler and he had to face a mirror match. So again, the my games come into the play, and Optics was able to revel and just push through to beat Dabikin to go into the quarterfinals. I mean, Ricardo, you have to think that like with the my games, that's very impressive to see from your one of your campmates.
I mean, I can't put it into words. Honestly, I mean, the improvements he's made, it's actually unbelievable. He went from being 1-4 in the SFL to now beating some of the top ranked ESFL players. I mean, I don't think anyone predicted him to have the success he's had so far up till now. Uh, I don't think anyone even expected it at all. I've probably said that 3 or 4 times up till now, but it's just that big of a shock. I don't think anyone expected it at all. So, what a performance!
Yeah, a lot of different situations, not really just the chalk outcome that we were expecting going out of the upper left of the corner, but again, they still have a chance to be in the running for the winner spot, and the bounty is still available along with a performance bonus. A lot of money on hand, but Luber, we have the first semifinal or quarterfinal, excuse me, already set up. Now we go to the murderous row of the bottom left, and it's gonna get real scary real quick for the two guys in the other quarterfinals.
Yeah, excuse me for a second. I had to break out the notepad. I had to make a note
Oh, here we go.
performance bonus. We got to
Okay.
keep track of these today because $60 is going to whoever has the best performance in a single fight tonight. And man, that's a good starter right there for Optics. But yeah, getting into this next section of the bracket, starting with Holloway versus Jamie, moving on to Fadinator versus Scam. You have 3 former ESFL champions in there. Holloway was just 2 fights away from getting it done himself. Wasn't able to make it to the event where he had that opportunity, but anyone who's faced him on ranked or just knows about the Xbox ranked scenes knows Holloway is a killer, can easily beat anybody in this tournament on the right day. So yeah, we're getting into it, man. We may see the tournament winner coming out of one of these next 2 fights.
It's
I,
gonna be very interesting. Oh, go ahead, Ricardo.
I was just about to say absolutely. I think the winner is easily capable from being from this left side of the bracket. Arguably the 4 best players on the game. I don't think you can confidently say one person from here is gonna make it to the final because it's honestly that stacked.
Absolutely. It's going to be very interesting how it all plays out. And not to mention, this is only one side of the invitational. We got a whole other side that we have to worry about, but we're not going to get into that yet. We're just giving you a little bit of a tease to get ready for this next couple of fights. Because, again, our next fight, Holloway versus Jamie, we know how these guys run in UFC 4 and in the virtual octagon. I'll be interesting to see what were the decisions made before the fight, whether there was a ban or maybe Jamie chose the weight, possibly. Actually, no, excuse me. It would be Holloway that would be choosing the weight. So, do we have confirmation of what they decided for this next oncoming matchup here, Ricardo?
Holloway had the better seed and he decided to pick middleweight.
Middleweight again. Again, Whitaker, we saw nothing but Whitaker. That's been the most favorable choices in the meta. But going to you guys, I'll start with you, Luber. What other fighters would you think could possibly compete against a Whitaker or be another favorable choice for these competitors?
Yeah, well, it is a Robert heavy meta at middleweight because you have Robbie Lawler, but of course, you have Robert Whitaker. Then you have Robbie Lawler. Is really the most common viable counter pick we've seen. There's just something about recovery stats at that weight class, the power those guys bring, the stamina. I mean, stats in general, Whitaker's got them all, but Robbie's got the ones that matter. I'd like to see, people have tried to make the classic Bisbing or Anderson Silva work. They're fun to use, but man, it's just that you get edged out by Robert Whitaker in almost all those matchups. So I think we'll be seeing a lot of Whitakers as long as we stay at middleweight here.
Yeah, while we're going to the fight, Ricardo, any other suggestions would you think that could happen in middleweight possibly?
Sorry, can you say that
You-
again, please? I was zoned out.
Oh no, I was just saying, like, what other choices do you think could happen in middleweight? We talked about the Bisping, we talked about Robbie Lawler. Is there any other dark horse that you see in the middleweight division that we could possibly see in this invitational?
I think they had 5 rounds on. Um,
Uh
yeah,
oh.
so obviously you've got your Robert Whitaker, your main one, and then your next best pick for me is Robbie Lawler. I think his power in the pocket is very good. And then the next best one there for me is Vittori. Obviously, he's got a massive
Ooh.
head, so he's very durable. He's got good grappling. He's got the boxing as well. He isn't as good as the top two, but he's a very solid pick. And then I'd say you're looking at your Jared Cannoniers, your Michael Bispings, your Anderson Silva. I'd say them three are all around the same. None are really better than the others. They have the benefits like Jared Cannonier's power, Bisping's cardio and speed, Anderson's kicks. But it just do suit your styles. Like, for example, Adesanya. Sometimes when I fight Fad, he has a very good Adesanya on me. He'll use all the side kicks, he'll use the back kicks, he'll use the teeps. So I don't think we're going to see it in this tournament, but even players like Adesanya, that is a very viable pick.
Yeah, very viable picks indeed. I mean, Adesanya, he's the champ in the middleweight division, and he's not really the meta person. And also Cannonier, who is also going to be fighting later tonight for that middleweight strap. It's going to be interesting to see where they go. And hopefully, do we have confirmation that their fight is going ahead, or do we still need a couple of more moments to give them time?
I mean, they should be going.
They should be going. Hopefully, we get to see you on our screen. But again, thank you guys so much for being here on FSK MMA on YouTube, watching the FSK Invitational, where a lot of things are on the line. And we can see already on the fighter selection screen, it looks like we might have a Whitaker matchup. And it seems like that's been the way we're going with this tournament. And Jamie, and oh my God, Luber, I know you already saw this. 17 wins for both guys. This is actually the rubber match for both of these competitors. So, what kind of mental aspect are you expecting in this contest?
You know, it's funny. The very first fight of the night, there were 7 wins against each other, even
Really?
going into it. Yeah, there's some weird stuff with the sevens going on today. But no, I was actually wondering what their matchup record would be going into this, because I know on ranked they have run into each other quite a bit. I wasn't sure if they use each other as sparring partners or what. I know Jamie has a ton of respect for the skill that Holloway has. And you see with that matchup, there's an obvious reason why. And we get the mirror match to boot. I mean, everything is lining up even on both sides. Both guys can strike. Both guys can grapple. This is a crazy close matchup.
Here we go. The third fight of a round of 16. Swab Jamie in the red gloves using Whitaker, while we have Holloway in the blue. And right now, we're seeing both competitors trying to get a little bit of a filling out process, trying to use the leg kicks to implement some kind of different strategy. And already just going high and heavy, try to use a little bit of a knee. We haven't seen knees in the last 2 previous fights. So I'm happy to see a little bit of a different mode in these competitors as they're trying to go in these fights right here, Ricardo.
I mean, these two fighters, they're the two of the most well-rounded fighters on the game. Suave Jamie, unbelievable striking, unbelievable grappling, and the same to be said about Holloway. Yeah, I'm intrigued to see where both of them would like to take the fight. Are we going to look to see Holloway or Jamie initiate the grappling, or are both of them going to try and stand it out on the feet? That's what's intriguing for me in this one.
Yeah, what would you say about, everyone's got different approaches trying to win the game. Some people try to knock you out by attrition, just pour on so much pressure and strikes that eventually your head health gives out. Some people just try to steal rounds, right? Make sure they secure the decision and win the cleanest way possible. What do you think? Are both these guys kind of just trying to fight clean, earn points, and not take too many risks, or how are they going to approach this?
I mean, it looks to me like Suave Jamie's going to try the leg kicks. We've seen a few check, but we've seen a few landed. Obviously, with the leg kicks, it's something to think about. If someone's throwing leg kicks at you, it's another target of where they're trying to go. So obviously, that's something to Holloway to put in mind. What then can set up other things like head kicks or teeps to the body, things like that. It sets up other avenues what Jamie could be looking to be doing here.
Yeah, and as we see, already past the halfway mark of the first round, we saw a little bit of what Holloway was doing. He was able to get some damage on his opponent, but went a little bit too aggressive, and he was able to get punished for it. But Jamie, it seems like he's getting out of the range of the kicks, able to answer back a little bit in those leg kicks. I mean, it may not seem as much, but they're going to pay dividends if it goes later and later into the rounds. But these combinations are landing for Holloway and Luber. You have to think, if he keeps on doing this, he's going to be in a good position to go in these next couple of rounds.
Yeah, I'm seeing Jamie's getting tagged here and there. It's not enough to rock him. It's not full combos, but his head health is dropping low for moments at a time. On the other side of things, when Jamie's being pressured, I see him dropping, 4-piece combinations, just big things, trying to make Holloway second guess that pressure. And then also what I like Jamie's doing is he's smothering these kicks. As soon as Holloway tries to throw a kick, he's in his face with jabs, with punches, trying to make sure that that's not going to work for him.
Oh, Rob Holloway!
Holloway doing the business, able to get a rock. He's been trying to land those combinations and it finally succeeded for him. And now attacking the bite, I'm liking what he's doing. He just needs to watch out for those leg kicks. He was able to check a couple of them in this first round. But with 20 seconds left, if he could just keep up the momentum, he will be in good standing in the second round right here. And as we keep on going, we're seeing a little bit. No, we're going to end it and go into the second round. But Jamie, Ricardo, you have to think Jamie needs to find a way to get back in this fight.
I mean, one thing with leg kicks as well, if the leg kicks do start working for Jamie, do start going in his favour, it is then a lot harder for Holloway to finish the fight. So even though Jamie might be down in the head and the body stats, if he can get enough damage to that leg of Holloway, it will kind of even it out more than people would think. So if Jamie can get that working for him in his favour, I think that's going to play a big factor in this one. But obviously we've seen great checks from Holloway so far.
Yeah, so far so good for both competitors. Again, it's one and done. Win or go home. And Jamie is in the red gloves. He needs to find his way back into this contest. While we see Holloway in the blue, able to get a rock. Can he do it again?
Oh!
Continue the momentum, as the momentum is a fickle thing. As we see Jamie put it on the gas on his opponent right there, Luber.
The timing on that slip straight lead overhand, one of the most powerful counters in the game, and he landed it clean, man. That's what he needed right there to get back in this fight. And I like how Jamie now is going back to it, right? He's not going to try to change his game plan because he got the rock.
Oh, fights back!
Flip hook!
The vicious maneuvers of Holloway, able to answer back.
He
So to
got
the
him.
wrong side, gets a knockdown again. And here
This
we go.
could be it.
Can he actually finish it right here? He just needs one. He gets it. Holloway wins the round of 16 and moves on to the quarterfinals. Impressive performance from the one, the only Holloway right there, Ricardo.
I mean, Holloway, he come through adversity in that one. Obviously, we've seen Jamie. He landed a very big combination there. He invested in the leg. And you're thinking, is Holloway going to make out of this one? I mean, then we've seen the veteran experience from him. He puts a lot of games in ranked. He's played a lot of it. So he's seen his experience from playing the game in general come out. And he was able to push past the storm of Jamie in that one. What do you think about it, Luba?
I loved it. Great performance. He was very smart to not overextend himself early in the fight. He took his time on his strikes. And then when he saw blood, when Jamie was in a tough spot back near the cage, rocked, he put together a nice combination and just strung that block break long until he was ready to put him down. That was a great performance against one of the very best players to ever do it. So when we're talking about people having a breakout tournament, right, these cash money tournaments that people remember these years from now. They'll be like, hey, were you there when Holloway took Jamie out round 1 of the FSK Invitational? And yes, gentlemen, we were there.
Yeah, we were there, and I'm loving the energy that we're getting from this invitational. I love calling these tournaments because you never know what's going to happen. Along with so many strategies that you have to implement and you have to study your opponent, it's just the one and done factor. Put so much pressure on you, and to rise from that pressure, to put yourself all the way to the mountaintop is such an amazing feat to do. And the fact that Holloway was able to be one of the best in Jamie to go in just the quarterfinals, not the finale, not the semifinal, the quarterfinals. So there's still a long road to go ahead. But speaking of the next contest in the road that has to go on, Ricardo, we have another banger, and it's Fadinator versus God Ate My Pig, aka Gamp. I mean, what do you look in this kind of matchup right here?
I mean, I'd say this is it can be a striker versus grappler matchup. Obviously, God Ate My Pig is known for having one of the best grappling on this game. And he has the Robert Whittaker pick, so he has got the grappling there if he does need it. But it'll be interesting to see how both of them come at this one. Obviously, you see Fadinator more of a pressure striker, but Gamp does have some of the best counters in this game. So, will Fadinator be that usual pressure striking style? What will open up opportunities to Gamp? Or will we look to see Gamp wrestle? It's going to be an interesting one to see how this one plays out.
Absolutely. And Luber, we saw, and it's different from the 7s and 17s. It's 209 to go into 74, but all that matters is this round right here, this fight. Who's going to take the next one as we see Fadinator in the red gloves on the red side going against Goddamn Pig, and we're already in a barn burner right here, Luber.
No hesitation from either man, throwing combos in the pocket. You love to see it.
Oh my
Woo.
God.
Yeah, Gamp had the first clean shot of left hook, and now you can see
Ooh.
clinched, collar tie. Good late denial there from Fadinator. Keep it standing. Expect nothing less from the reigning champion of the ESFL. I am going to be very interested in seeing what happens if Gamp can get some momentum on his side. I think if Fadinator gets the early lead, it's going to be real tough to implement his wrestling. But if Fadinator is in a bad spot, if he needs the pressure to get back around or get back to fight, I think Gamp's going to be in real good place with that dominant side control, with that grappling threat.
I
Yeah,
mean,
and we.
go on,
Oh, go ahead, Ricardo.
No, go on, Kingsley. Ooh.
No, I was gonna say. So far, we saw Goddamn Pig. He was able to get pieced up a little bit, and he went automatically to that ground situation, but he got denied. So that has to put a little bit of trouble in his soul right there, as we see just the striking of Fadinator doing something very nice right there, Ricardo.
I mean, Fadinator there with a big rock, but the thing that's been most interesting to me so far is seeing Max trying to wrestle. I mean, coming into this one, I had questions. Will he look to try and wrestle? But it looks to be like he's shot 2 takedowns so far. Fadinator with a perfect takedown defense. So it'll be interesting to see what Camp does now. Will he look to do any more takedowns? Because obviously that can absolutely ruin his stamina, but it's not going his way on the feet now.
Dangerous. Thy name is Fadinator, and he is just swarming his opponent, able to just duck down from the hooks and everything. And we're just getting past the first, the halfway mark of the first round right here. So far, we saw 2 takedowns get denied. Goddamn Pig is usually known for his ground game, but so far, but he gets a nice slip, the perfect counter to his opponent. And Luber, this is the change that he needed.
Yeah, Fadinator coming out hot, all sorts of pressure. He's fighting like it's a 1-round fight, and he's got 90 seconds to win it. But yeah, Gamp able to take advantage of that pressure, land that slip counter. Still, look at that health difference. Look at the body, the head health. This is crazy. Fadinator is putting it on him.
Oh, he's down.
Put it on him. Gets a knockdown right here.
Ooh,
1 minute to go. Can Gamp win?
Ooh, that is
it. No, he doesn't. Fadinator wins. Fadinator moves on into the murderous row, into the quarterfinals. My goodness, it was from the get-go. He was able to fight his opponent. He was able to land some combinations, and it worked so well for him. Ricardo, when you look at that performance, it seemed like it was just a non-stop barrage of striking and denials.
I mean, the grappling defense from Fadinator was great. I think if he doesn't have that defense, the fight goes out longer. Gamp can probably get some damage off on the ground, and it's a completely different story. But the fact Fadinator was able to stop them takedowns, get his striking going on the feet, I think that set it up all for him. And he was able to capitalise on Max how he was looking how to counter. He was reading the reads of Max. So, I mean, great performance from Fad. Sets up an absolute banger in the next one with Holloway and Fadinator. Really looking forward to that one. But Luba, what did you make of that fight just gone then?
Yeah, absolutely insane performance from Fadinator. Sad to see the 209 wins going in there. You know, he had 209 wins against Gamp all time. That was the Stockton number. Diaz brothers, that's gone. It's no longer 210 wins now for Fadinator. He is looking like somebody who can take over this scene, honestly. I mean, that's just one fight, a microcosm of what's to come, even in this tournament. But man, he looked clean. There was no wasted movement, no hesitation, no doubts. But also, he didn't overexert himself. He was managing the stamina the entire time. He was really never at risk of getting knocked out. Even when he got countered, you know, maybe he was a little bit of a rock, but it wasn't something that's going to put him on his butt. He just looked good, man. He looked damn good.
Yeah, he looked really good, and he's going to be a scary competitor in that quarterfinals matchup against Holloway. And then on the other side, JC21 FSK Optics, they had a little bit time to breathe to see what their opponents are going to be doing. Maybe do a little bit further scouting if they have to deal with those competitors in the future. But we're all done with the left side of the bracket for the first round. Now we're going to go to the other side, the dangerous side, as we have a whole bunch of other killers, some unknown names, some very high profile names that we have seen in many other leagues. I'm excited to see where this whole other side goes. And going to you, Ricardo, what are you excited about this next upcoming matchup between a bathing ass going against Samurai Robin?
Mhm. I mean, both of these players, both coming from PlayStation. Obviously, the difference between two consoles, they both run completely different. So it benefits certain players and certain play styles. So I mean, we've seen Robin; he looked flawless in the group stages, along with the Babe and Ash. It'd be interesting to see how both styles come up against each other. Obviously, with Robin, great everywhere. Same with Babe and Ash. Babe and Ash, former E League champion, if I'm not mistaken. So it'll be interesting to see where this one. In this one, a Babe and Ash does have the better seed. So he's picked middleweight, so there's been no ban. It's a middleweight one, and a Baby Nash. We wait to see, and it's another Whittaker Miller.
Just appreciate that they're not wearing the same color trunks. We just gotta resign ourselves to the fact we're gonna be seeing a lot of Robert Whittaker here. Missed out on our one chance at Robbie Lawler, maybe. But no, I love this matchup. It's very interesting style difference, right? A bathing Ash, somebody who's always looking for an exciting fight, always willing to trade in the pocket, and he's got crazy mechanics to back it up. Meanwhile, Samurai Robin, very cerebral, very smart, likes to fight at range, maybe a little more kickboxing style. One thing I'm interested from Robin is in the past he's been critical of himself for not being aggressive when he has a win in hand. He thinks he should have fought with a little more honor, but I want to see him fight to win. I want to see him do what it takes. And in a fight like this against Ash, maybe you got to take advantage of your opponent's aggression.
Yeah, absolutely. As you saw, a little bit of a punish maneuver from Samurai Robin in the red gloves going against his opponent, a Bathing Ash, in the blue, as we have a different side of the bracket, a different camera view than what we've been seeing previously. But now we're just seeing both guys fighting the phone booth, not going as crazy as our last fight, but more of just like the patient pressure and trying to find a nice little triple hit. Not yet a home run hit, but both of these guys are gonna look for some big shots right here, Ricardo.
I mean, one thing we're seeing Samurai Robin doing is looking to work the legs. Obviously, with Babe and Ash, with the way we seem to be striking, he's looking for that slip right hand. And with that, it opens up his leg. So if Robin can carry on working this leg as he is slipping, it's going to be absolutely money for him. Oh!
Yeah, and that's a very good head kick landing from a Bathing Ash, but he needs to watch out for his stamina. He can't use all of it in one go. There is levels to this fighting game, and he knows well how to use it. But right now, Samurai Robin trying to keep his range, trying to keep his distance, trying to find a way to use the jab and use a little bit straight, trying to disrupt the block gates a little bit, trying to find his opening, but he can't get too careless. The combinations are going to be coming from a Bathing Ash right here, Luber.
Yeah, an early switch stance from Ash. I know he's very comfortable fighting from southpaw, loves the McGregor pick. But you wonder, is that in response to the leg kicks, or is there something about the stances that he's looking to take advantage of here, maybe coming through with the big power left? We'll see what happens.
Yeah, and Ricardo, going to you. We saw those head kicks being implemented by Bathing Ass, but he needs to be really careful of those maneuvers because it seems like we see his opponent using the range very nicely. If he gets punished right there, that could be a huge detrimental to his momentum.
Yeah, like you say, obviously with head kicks runs a big risk, but it can also be a big reward. So if it can, oh, nice check there, Rash, but yeah, like I said, big risk, big reward, and obviously big tournament. He's going for the big risks.
Yeah, big tournament, a lot of money on the line, and it's one and done in these first couple of rounds right here. As we see Robin use a bit of stamina, trying to takes he gets punished with a pull elbow right there. Bathing Ass ready to fight, ready to conquer. Can we actually see a finish right here? It might be close. Oh, one shot close with 1 minute to go right there, Luber. How close was that to a finish?
Yeah, Samurai Robin milking the block in that ground and pound exchange to the very last punch. Incredible job surviving that. But Ash, man, Ash is looking good. I mean, this kind of fight, this is something that Robin really doesn't want to engage in. He wants to pick him apart. He wants to get damage without taking risks. And he's on top position now, so maybe that's a good way to do it.
That's a very good way with 15 seconds. Try to get them as much damage as you could possibly can. And this is a good maneuver. Getting a posture up, trying to reclaim some of that damage. I mean, he's working. That screen is going a little bit red right there, Ricardo. But a good just fighting his way back. But look at the replay right there. Pull into an elbow. Sick maneuvers right there, Ricardo.
I mean, the start of the fight, it looked like it was going to go in Robin's way. The leg kicks was working brilliantly, and then when we seen a Babe and Ash switch to southpaw, the fight started going in his favour. And it'll be interesting to see how Robin responds to that one.
Yeah, absolutely. As we're in the second round, our other side of the bracket, our fifth fight of the first of round of 16. Again, Robin in the red gloves, trying to find his
Oh,
way back, getting some nice combinations with the right hook, but he's going against a Bathing Ash who was able to get the knockdown and able to get some slips against his opponent. Let's see how it goes down. But Luber in the
Yeah.
center, we've seen some check kicks, but not really the crazy pace that we saw in the first round.
Well, that's the thing. If Ash can get good defense on the outside, it's going to force Samurai Robin to change up his game plan. We saw he switched to a little more boxing heavy, and that's where he got caught with that pull elbow. He doubled up on the hooks. He threw left hook, right hook, and Ash was too quick for that. He got the pull. So now you see in tight again. Ash is trying to bait him into a slugfest, and we'll see how Samurai Robin responds to it.
Yeah,
oh, another
oh,
one.
again, it happened again as you called it, Luber. Being Mystic Mac, the pull into the elbow has been his maneuver, and another knockdown again. Bathing Ash is just feeling the rhythm, feeling the rhyme. The pulls are working for him, Ricardo.
I mean, the adjustments Bathing Ash has made in this one is absolutely great. We're now seeing the fight going easily in his favour. A great pressure here, and he sends it down. This could be it.
This has to be it. We'll have to see. The protection is not enough, and we see a Bathing Ash moving on to the quarterfinals against a very game Samurai Robin. Very good matchup, very good contest, but Bathing Ash able to pull it out right there, Luber.
Yeah, it was a great fight, but it was a matchup made for Ash with the Robert Whitaker picks, inside, in tight boxing, kind of shorter fighters. And you saw what happens when you try to strike and box with Ash, man. He's too quick, he's too good, and he puts him away with just a devastating combo. Still full stamina at the end of the fight. He is a force to be reckoned with, and you saw right there why.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ricardo, a Bathing Ash, he is no joke. And just seeing what all those competitors done before him, he knew he had to put a little bit more extra against his opponent because that performance bonus is something that he's looking out for as well. You don't just want to win the money, you want to put on an amazing show as well. But going into the next matchup as a Bathing Ash goes on to the next round, Aleek's going against KM
Can I just step in there 1 second?
Oh yeah, no.
Yep, Noetta
totally
has
fine.
had to pull out. He cannot get home in time. So
no.
we will be seeing KM Liam step in, one of the standout performers from the group stage. We've seen him have a very close fight with J Rob, who was fighting later in the night, and we've seen him put on an absolute great performance against Yadar. His counters were unreal in that one. I mean, and he made Yadar not look like an ESFL veteran who's had 2 title shots. He made him look like me. So, absolute great performance in Liam in the group stage. It'd be interesting to see how he does now versus Leaks. Leaks obviously a great striker in himself, so it's going to be a great fight this one.
Very interesting developments here in the FSK Invitational. Anything can happen. That's why you have to prepare for a tournament. Sometimes you get last minute replacements. Sometimes things don't go in your way. There's a ton of things that you need to work out for and always be prepared for. But Luber, going to you about this, how do you feel about always training for this opponent, training for this tournament, going through the groups, but now you have to face a different opponent than you're expecting? What does that go into your psyche going to a tournament like this?
Well, I think it's interesting with Liam because he is a little bit of a wild card. Is this, and Ricardo, maybe you know, is he the Liam that's been around since UFC 3, kind of takes breaks every now and then, but then shows up, beats people up, and then takes the. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah, this guy is a killer, man. I mean, it always depends on, how active is he, how many reps is he getting in. But if he looked good in competition recently, then he is going to be dangerous because he's somebody that I've actually sparred with a good amount. And I've seen him spar with other people in the ESFL Discord, and he gets the respect of everybody because he plays clean and he plays good, man. His boxing is great. His head movement is second to none, and he is a wild card. So to see him thrown in this tournament against somebody like Leaks, who's also, I mean, Ricardo, you were hyping him up before this event. Leaks is a killer, man. His boxing is incredible. He shows up every time he performs, and he's kind of a dark horse himself. So this is a great matchup. I'm excited to see how it plays out.
Absolutely. I think Leaks is honestly a dark horse to win this. Obviously, the bracket, it does kind of favour him. He hasn't got the tough people on his side like Fad, Gamp, Holloway, Jamie, Optics. He hasn't got them kind of people on his side. Obviously, he's got Blake and Ash, but it isn't as strong as that left side. So, obviously, Leaks being the player that he is, I think he is a contender to win this. So, it'll be interesting to see how he does against Lamia. Obviously, they do look to be ready in the lobby. So, without further ado, let's jump over to it.
Absolutely. And you guys set the table very excellently for all of us. I will have to say, even though Leaks probably has a leg up in this contest right here, you never bet on anything. You can't trust anything except when the fight actually happens. Nothing is promised. So I'm excited to see if Liam is able to pull this one out. We know that dark horses in tournaments or underdogs have a sneaky way of going all the way and winning this whole shebang. So I'm actually interested to see what happens. And now we're not in middleweight anymore. We're actually in flyweight. So I'm excited to see some new type of fighters, maybe a faster pace of what we saw in the middleweight division. But Ricardo, for you, what picks are you looking forward to see in the flyweight division?
I mean, we see Pirate Kip hovering over Alex Perez here. I wouldn't think he would go in. We see Leaks the Great with a Figueiredo. Obviously, he has that unreal and he is changing.
Ooh, Kai
There
France.
it is. This has been my pick lately at flyweight. I know he's in the meta, but I don't know. Maybe Ricardo, you could elaborate a little more. Where exactly in the meta he fits? Is he kind of the AS plus tier pick? Is there one, or is flyweight just kind of open like that, where you have a few guys who none of them are really the top of the food chain?
I mean, if you give me 1 second, I'll speak about it because they both seem to be trying to counterpick each other. We've seen Leaks going Figueiredo, and then he's now going Figueiredo. So now we're having no Kai Carter France. Pirate Kip. Now he's going to have a think. Who's he going to go to counterpick Figueiredo?
Well, that's the main thing about these tournaments. And just like everywhere, when you're waiting in a fighter selection screen, you always hover around the fighter, but it's always a chess game when you go into this fighter selection screen. Because if you select something, now you have a chance to, like, oh, well, I don't want to have to deal with his striking or wrestling. You have to go a different way and try to find a way to get the advantage of your opponent. It's one and done, win or go home. You need to find a way back into this contest. So, Luber, going to this, I mean,
Yeah.
do you really blame these competitors?
No, it's a funny thing. Once in a blue moon, you'll see this happen where somebody has a matchup and they're like, well, I don't really like I don't like using Kai Kara France against Davison Figueiredo. So they see their opponent hover it, they switch. I remember like 2 years ago, it happened in the ESFL and a UFC 3. I think we did a coin flip and that person had to pick first or something. So it is interesting to see that not only is there, that situation playing out where you don't know what's going to happen, but it says that the meta is, or the matchup is that close, that contested, where there's whatever advantages you're looking for, you can find it just by changing your fighter.
Yeah, and they finally sealed the deal with their competitors. Brandon Moreno being used for Liam, while Leaks is going with Davison Figueroa. I mean, with Ricardo, the matchup right here, you have to think it could go anywhere in the octagon. It could go ground, it could go stand up, but you really want to be sure to take care of your stamina, right?
Yeah, I mean, one thing to bear in mind in this matchup as well, the blocking of Figueiredo is something like 85. So if Pirate Kip can put on that pressure, I mean, I think Leaks is going to have a lot of trouble with that blocking this one.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say 98 power on the back end for Figueiredo. You can kind of try to, keep people off you with the power. Make sure they know if they're gonna be peppering you with a lot of shots, they're gonna eat a big one back. But really, I mean, in terms of those flyweight picks, that's one of the weaknesses out there is Figueiredo's low blocking stat, and you see regularly when he gets picked, that's what people's immediate strategy is, just pepper that block.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like in flyweight, there's a lot of people. Like TJ Dillashaw's strong, but if you're looking in them health stats, he isn't so strong. If you're looking at Figueiredo, that block kind of puts you off him. Same with Moreno's legs isn't the best. And then you look at Askarov, his legs isn't the best, and his striking isn't as good as the other ones. Obviously, you've got Kaikar France, but he isn't as well rounded as everyone else. So everyone has the weaknesses in this weight, so it's an interesting one to see if people pick.
Yeah, very dangerous indeed. And just what we're seeing from both of these competitors, both guys are having their moments with their combinations. And I'm liking what Liam's doing, landing those uppercuts, able to stand into the pocket and just wait for his opponent to just exert all his energy and then go for the counter. I love his counter punching. But we're seeing Leaks doing a nice job, trying to get in range, trying to find his way in, being the more of the aggressor. It's all about who's going to make that key mistake to let their opponent in. But these uppercuts, they're landing hot and heavy, and it's only going to be so much till they leak more damage right here, Luber.
Yeah, and not to harp on the pick too much because it's a fine pick, but Leaks on Davison Figueiredo doesn't make a lot of sense to me because I could see him on a Dillashaw getting loose, flowing, that high volume at flyweight that you could pull off. You'd think that'd be where his advantage really is, but he's gonna be a little bit more head kick. He's gonna be counter striking in this fight. Let's see how that plays out for him. So far, so good.
Yeah, so far so good. Very damaging. And now we're seeing Leaks go into his bag.
Oh, he's
Finding a
down.
way to answer. It gets a knockdown along with the rock. And that is going to be a big momentum swing for Leaks after that whole barrage that both guys were trying to land on each other. But now it's up to Liam. Can he find a way to answer back? Is he going to keep with the same strategy, or he's going to find a way to just drain the stamina of Leaks
Ooh.
and answer back? But now he's doing a nice job with 1 minute to go. He has a chance right here, Ricardo.
I mean, the counters from Liam, they're very, very sharp, proving he's still in this one. Obviously, that was a monster head kick from Leaks, and we've seen him through it again not long after. I'd say he needs to reel that in. So if you throw one too many head kicks, it causes a big risk, and we do see him feinting it a lot, so maybe he's looking to set like a front kick up, something like that.
Yeah.
Catch him ducking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Lovely
he tries to
pressure.
go for a pull.
Oh, lovely.
10.
And just the footwork pressure, the keeping in front of him, keeping Liam's back against the cage, that's really where you're going to see a lot of damage being done in favor of Leaks.
Yeah, as you were saying, it could be very advantageous for his opponent right there. But right now, what I'm seeing from Liam, he's trying to set up that pull. If he's able to get that pull, that changes the whole situation for his competitor. But right now,
Oh,
I'm
lovely.
really ready to see if he's gonna try to do a head kick and we see a pull or a duck, and I feel like this whole match changes. But we'll have to see. Leaks is still on the prowl, trying to get another knockdown in a rock and continue the momentum right here, Ricardo.
I mean, we're still seeing Liam fight the way how he usually does. I mean, I don't think he's at that much of a. He's not in that much of a scurry situation where he needs to change the way how he's fighting. Obviously, we see it's still working for him, but exactly.
telling you.
You're dead on, Kingsley. That head movement from Pyrite Kit, from Liam, it's something he's always been putting a lot of work into, something he's very good at, landing the counters off of that. And I was wondering, does he have the 4-piece meta down, right? Can he sling it when he needs to? And we saw there just a minute ago, finishing a 4-piece with an uppercut landing clean. You love to see it. He's definitely in this fight. He is a live dog.
Yeah, he can't get too overzealous off of the one successful maneuver. He needs to find a way to do it again, but not be predictable about it.
Ooh.
He's able to do it, but a front kick will change everything up. It stops a little bit of the momentum of Liam, but so far, I'm liking what Leaks is doing. He's not deterred. He's going to keep with this game plan and able to land these combinations. These hooks are landing very nicely here, Ricardo.
I mean, I'd say Leaks is taking back control now. Obviously, we've seen Pirate Kit with the early success in this round. But now, Leaks for me is.
There's a
There we
4-piece.
go.
I think that's a knockdown there as well.
It has to be, even though we're frozen time because it was so nasty. Liam, if he's able to get a knockdown right here, we saw the ground and pound work so well for so many competitors.
And
He's
he's
going
got
to
a
dance right here
hit.
as we see the underdog almost gets his day again. But Leaks is still in this.
Oh, wow.
Man, like a dog on a bone, right? He was all over him. He threw a 4-piece, rocked him, threw a couple more punches. That uppercut got the knockdown. Just a couple punches away in that ground and pound secrets from getting the finish there.
I mean, Brandon Moreno, he's got that Mexican in him. He is so durable. So, with the way how Pirate Kip is fighting, it's allowing him to take a little bit more damage and then fire back. The health stats on Moreno are really playing a big factor for him in being able to fight the way how he is. Because I think if he was TJ Dillashaw, Leaks would just bulldoze him by now.
Yeah, he might have been out with that head kick in the first round, to be honest. Yeah, absolutely. And I'd be interested to see where Pirate Kip's stamina is at. Because with his strategy of, using slips, try to get your opponent to miss, and then fire back big counter. There's another big miss. He does gas people out. And Leak's not terribly low on stamina, but there may be a pretty good advantage for Liam there at this point in the fight.
Under 1 minute in the second round right here. We see Liam able to put it on his opponent. Can he smell blood in the water? Will he find a way to finish it before he even goes to the third round? Or will Leaks find a way to answer back? He's been able to get countered so many times. Will we see an overhand? Will we see an uppercut? We don't know. But the pull, the slip, is able to be in Liam's wheelhouse. Can he do it again? And you see Leaks try to go for it again. 15 seconds. Will we see something incredible? Or will we go into the third round? We will. But gentlemen, it's been a roller coaster so far. I'm excited to see what these guys have it in the third round. Starting with you, Luber, who do you think has the most beneficial strategy going to the third round right here?
Well, I think that the timing Liam's found with the head movement is great, but he is somebody who does a lot of predictive head movement. We saw him get caught in the
Oh,
first round with that.
oh!
There it is.
Man, he is looking sharp though. He's just got to be careful. One fatal mistake with the power from Davis and Figueiredo, maybe a spinning back fist or something like that, he could be put on the ground. But if they keep fighting like this, in this pace, at this kind of tempo, I think he's going to put him away here pretty quick. He is looking damn good.
Yeah, and Ricardo, looking at this, we see Links, he's still moving forward. He's trying to get in close, attacking the body a little bit. Do you think the strategy is beneficial to his game plan right here? Should he try to take a step back and try to go his opponent in, or do you think he needs to keep on moving forward and be more aggressive?
I mean, I don't think Liam's.
Oh my God! Front kick landing.
I
So we might have a change right here. He still has a chance, but the whole script has been changed. Fire the script writer right here, people, because we gotta fight.
I mean, what
That
I was
could
saying
seal-
is, go on, Luca.
I was going to say, I mean, that alone could seal. If we were looking at one round each, if this is where the fight ends, if Leafs can hold this top position, I mean, it's a lot of round to hold it for, but he just won the round there. That could win him the fight.
Yeah, like I was saying before, I mean, Liam's style is always to counter-strike. He'll always be on that back foot. And Leaks was down in the round, so he had to do something. It wasn't like he could let Pirate kick just on the back foot doing his thing, so he had to pressure with it. And with some of that front kick, he's now clawed it back. He's now got the top control as well. So it is now in Leaks' favour. You now think Liam has to do something to claw it back.
Yeah, and we'll have to see. We're already in the halfway mark of the third and final round. Whoever wins this will face a bathing ass in the quarterfinal rounds. And as we get back to the center, where else would you rather be? Here we go. Something magical is about to happen here, ladies and gentlemen. Will we see Liam get the slip, get the counter he wants, and get the strike? Or will Leaks put on enough pressure to answer back, get another knockdown, and probably end the fight? He's been landing those front kicks so well, but now it's up to Pirate Kim. He's trying to move forward a little bit. Trying to be a little bit patient, trying to go for a straight right there. Trying to preemptively slip, but not really able to land. The block gauge is low for Figueroa, but the front kicks, he's doing it out of range. And he gets punished for it. Oh, but a slip away from the uppercut gives him another chance. Now we see Liam finding his way back in. But Luber, it's so close to call right here.
Man, this fight is back and forth. That front kick, the story of this round. What a combo!
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
Dog has his day again, and we see Liam, a last-minute replacement, move on, being the highly favorable Leaks and going into the quarterfinals. Unbelievable scenes in the first round right here, Ricardo.
I mean, a lot of the thing. Sorry, forgetting about here. Noetta had the bounty. Obviously, Liam steps in and he takes that bounty off Noetta. So now Pirate Kip is also one fight away from winning, claiming that bounty, and a Bathing Ash is now going to try and take that away from him. So that's going to be an interesting dynamic in the next fight as well. So I can't wait for that one.
$20 in your pocket like that if he could pull off another win. That was awesome to see. The strategy in that fight was so, I mean, both guys had very clear approaches. They weren't exchanging the same combination toe to toe. They were doing two different things. And I like the way that Liam was able to take advantage. We were talking about that teep kick that in the very first round, Ricardo said maybe he's setting it up. And of course, a little bit delayed delivery. That third round, it comes through, gets a knockdown, gets, I think, 2 knockdowns in the third round. But at the very end, that final sequence, Leaks throws the front kick out of range, and Liam runs forward with the jab straight, catches him with the straight on the chin. That's enough to start the sequence that ended the fight. Great performance from Liam there.
Yeah, and just the tenacity to not get dejected after you get knocked down in that first half of that third and final round. He could, like you were saying it, Ricardo, he was down. He probably was 1-1 going to that third round. He gets knocked down, and now he has to put it on his opponent, and he was able to do that, which was very, very nice. So far, ladies and gentlemen, we have 3 out of the 4 quarterfinal matches already set. A bunch of killer matchups than what we've been seeing, but we still have one more quarterfinal to be made, and we are going to the bottom right in this FSK Invitational. We welcome you guys. Thank you guys so much for joining us and being part of these amazing fights. It's gonna be amazing because we got one known killer in this side, but a whole bunch of other people who want to take that away from him and move on to the semifinals and fight the rest of the competitors. But going to you, Luber, how excited are you about this bottom right corner of the bracket?
Yeah, man, it's a beautiful tournament overall. There's tons of great players, but what I like about the bottom right is with Peace Mahai and Jay Rabel, you get Peace, who's somebody who has been showing steady improvements, but has been showing enthusiasm for the community, for the game, for the competitive scene. And when you're motivated, when you actually care about the reps you're taking, when you actually have fun playing this game, which is so damn hard to do, you can see pretty big improvements pretty quickly. And I think Peace is somebody to keep an eye on for that. Meanwhile, Jay Rabel, his opponent, is somebody that people know has been good, but has not really shown up on the competitive side of things. Hasn't won a lot of tournaments, hasn't had the best record in the ESFL, but I think anybody who's sparred with him, anybody who's ran into him on rank knows this guy is a killer, one of the very top players in the world. So tough matchup for Peace, a chance to get a huge upset, but on the other side of things, uh, it's a good stepping stone for Jay Rabo to get ready for that next fight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and remind me, Ricardo, both of these guys came out of the group, so they had a ton of fights to get into this moment right here, right?
Yep. Peace did actually get in as a replacement. Young Paul couldn't make it, so we had to go to the highest point from the group stage who didn't actually make it through, so that's how Peace is here. And J Robbo did beat Liam, who we did just see in the previous fight, and Yadar in the group stages.
Who would have thought if Liam faces him again? That'd be absolutely insane to see where they come from being last minute replacements. But going to the action right here, guys. Again, a Whitaker mirror match that we're seeing right here. Jay in the red gloves going against Peace in the blue, and already fighting in the phone booth. Trying to get a little bit close, trying to do a little bit push kicks, but difference than what we're seeing. Not a lot of head hunting. We're using a little bit more body shots than what we're seeing, trying to set it up a little bit, trying to give opponents to think about it. And we're seeing some good slips from Jay already here. Oh my goodness! What in the world?
The
Peace
slip
him
to
up
the
a second.
rear body uppercut, looking dirty out here. Peace Mahai. He's looking for it again. He ducked there, man. He's looking good in the pocket. If Jay Rabo wants to win this fight, there's probably a better path to victory. Ricardo, what do you think? Maybe if Jay Rabo's a very well-rounded fighter, if he wants to win this fight, what is his best path to victory?
I mean, I think that was a bit of a bad start for him, but I think he can win it anyway. I think if he wants to set the fight ground, he.
Ooh, Jay Robinson able to answer back right here, and now we're going a little bit back and forth. Both guys getting a rock on each other.
Yeah, Jay Rabo doubling down on that teep kick. Yeah, maybe. I mean, the fight's so early, right? The striking exchanges, obviously, Peace Mahai getting the better of him right now, but it could very quickly turn, and you see the body work coming back out for Jay Rabo, trying to even that up after those body uppercuts landed earlier. You see when these guys clash inside, both guys are moving forward, both guys are throwing big pull counters. We could get a sudden knockout or a huge rock at any moment in this fight.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yo! I'm sorry, I just got in all of this fight because the slipping, the head movement, just the striking has just been so mesmerizing. But going to you, Ricardo, we're just seeing just it has to be crazy to be in that octagon and knowing that it's pull after slip after slip, and one of these strikes could just instantly give you a body rock just like that. I mean, how much pressure does that put on you mentally going these fights?
I mean, I think it favours Peace if anything, because we've already seen he can make that adjustment. He can go to the body when he pulls, what then neutralises the pull from the other person. So I think he's got that in him to cancel it out. It'll be interesting to see how J Robo adapts. So nice pressure though from Robo at the moment.
Yeah, very nice pressure.
Oh, and he gets him
And
down.
landing a knockdown again. Jay Robinson, we saw a bunch of strikes being ended right here. He will! Jay Robo gets the second last spot in the quarterfinals. Put it on his opponent in just under like the 1 minute mark of the first round. We're just seeing a bunch of KOs here, guys. Luber, going to you. How impressive was that just contest in general?
Man, such a tough spot to put Peace Mahai in, fighting one of the best people in the world in the opening round. You could tell he got excited, man. He was enjoying the fight. He was doing well, and he threw out a 4-piece combination with a ducking roundhouse at the end of it. Completely gassed his tank, and Jay Rabel was able to jump all over him, take advantage, get the block down, get the knockdown, and then that ground and pound that Jay Rabel is one of the very best in the world at. So clean win for him. very good performance from Peace coming out early, showing he can do it with his hands. Just a couple mistakes there, and a solid win from Jay Robbo, who we're going to be saying this all night. Very well, maybe the guy taking home the cash prize here tonight. So very, very good. It'll be interesting to see what he can do in his next fight.
Yeah, and Ricardo, you could probably say that for any one of these competitors. Every one of these guys have a legitimate shot to win the title. But when we go into our next fight, well, our next matchup, our final matchup of the first round of the round of 16, Blake versus Kezala, this is a matchup where people are looking at and they know that possibly this could dictate the whole tournament going on in this matchup right here.
I mean, Kezala isn't. He'll bring the fight to anyone. I don't think he's scared of anyone in that aspect, and Blake Tyler being the best in the game, I don't think he's going to give him that respect. Blake Tyler, one of the best counter strikers in the game. So, I mean, a lot of people, when they come up against people like Blake, they won't fight the usual self. They'll give him more respect than they deserve. But I don't think Kezala is going to do that at all. I think he's going to go absolutely guns blazing in this one. And it'll be interesting to see how both of them adapt to it. Obviously, Keza, I don't think he plays people that much who have the counters of Blake. But then Blake, I don't think he faces people that often who have the pressure of Kezala. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. How do you think, Luba?
Yeah, I mean, so this whole time we've been talking about different players, what their prospective odds of winning are. I don't know if Satchmo was able to get final betting odds out on this one, but there has been a behemoth sleeping, a Leviathan deep under the water that we have not been talking about, and that is Blake Tyler, man. He is by far and away one of the very best to ever play this game, and he still got it. So we saw him take a loss not too long ago to Trixie in the ESFL, and that was because Trixie fought, I mean, for lack of a better term, dirty. He clinched him. He took him down. He used Kamaru Usman, who has those big wrestling stats, in a Robert Whittaker mirror match. Keza's not going to have any of those things in his favor. He's not going to be able to take advantage of a weak chin or anything like that. Whittaker's got all the defensive stats. So, yes, the maniac approach, the madman approach, throwing a 4-piece combination after a 3-piece when your opponent doesn't expect it. Yes, there's a chance. You can see 56 wins on the side of Kezala, and all he needs is one here. But, man, he has a mountain to climb in Blake Tyler, and I just don't know how he's going to do it.
We have seen mountains being climbed before in this invitational. We saw the likes of Dabikin, Leaks, so many other people, even Jamie losing in these kind of tournaments. So anything is possible, but it's up to the person to do it. Blake Tyler in the red gloves going against Keza in the blue. Our final round of 16 matchup to get into the quarterfinals and get the whole thing rolling. Let's see how it goes down. And already we're seeing Keza taking the center out of the gun, giving no respect to his opponent, not saying we're going to have a fill and out process. I'm going to go straight to you, and I'm going to find my way to get some strikes in as he lands that left hook right there. And Luber, this is what you want to see from Keza. If he's going to take the fight to Blake, he needs to do it right now and very fast.
Yeah, somebody like Keza who's willing. Oh, we might be having a controller disconnect.
Oh no. Not like this.
I think so maybe close. Blake sniffed it out. Keza's getting it fixed. They may even be in a party or something. Okay, they got it going again there. Nice sportsmanship from Blake there. I think you see sometimes in ranked, somebody would jump all over that opportunity.
I would.
But
I'll see Ricardo would take no prisoners. There's money on the line. People have to do whatever they have to take. But nice show sportsmanship from both competitors right there. But so far, going this matchup, and as we see a rock right there, Blake Tyler says, put your controller on and get this whooping right here as he goes into the clinch, and now he's putting pressure on his opponent right there, Ricardo.
I mean, the fight's going exactly how Blake Tyler wants it. Obviously, he's got that early knockdown there. So that is going to affect Kezala going forward. Obviously, Blake can just plant and rip, and he should have the better of the exchanges now. I mean, Blake can just fight his patient self now and not really worry about the offense together because he should win the threads.
Yeah, and you're seeing the pulls coming from Blake Tyler. He knows that his opponent is going to get super aggressive, and he's attacking the body right there, trying to drain that stamina of Whittaker. While Keza, he needs to be a little bit more aggressive. With 2 minutes remaining in this first round, there's only so limited time that you have to answer back, but Blake Tyler says, I have all the answers because I am the answers in this contest. But Luber, going to you, Blake Tyler in his bag. This is a great performance so far.
Yeah, Blake's seeing those straight punches coming. He keeps slipping in. That was a slip, rear hook, lead hook. I noticed the southpaw switch came out from Blake. Does he always fight southpaw? Ricardo, do you know? Yeah, okay. So that makes a lot. Yeah, but it's working very well for him. He's slipping off away from that power hand, and he's coming back over the side with those hooks, doing a very good job of countering, and you can see he's
Ooh.
pulling away in this one.
The slip was the
Nice
wrong
to
way into the hook, and it landed so nicely. I think that's the third knockdown that we've seen from Blake Tyler, able to put it on his opponent. But with 45 seconds, there's still time for Keza to answer back as he's still pressuring forward a little bit. But he knows he needs to correctly slip the right way. But now, seeing his opponent slip a little bit, he's trying to answer back, gets a nice uppercut. This is the change that he needed, but the slips are so good for Blake Tyler. And with 15 seconds, you have to think you don't want to put the pressure so much, but Luber, what a good defensive shell that Blake Tyler had in that sequence.
Oh,
Ooh.
little front kick there. Yeah, I mean, they stopped after Blake slipped those 2 uppercuts in a row. They stopped for a second. And I think that was just a moment where I'm sorry, it's Blake versus. I'm just having a blank.
Blake versus Keza.
Keza, thank you. I think Keza stepped back and said, "Hey, man, get out of my head for a second," because everything he's doing, Blake is one step ahead right now. And
he's rocking!
Oh, wait a minute. Keza says, I'm in his head. I am the danger. And as he gets the rock, that's a good momentum boost in the second round right here. And now you see the pressure. The black gauge low for Blake Tyler. Blake Tyler, kind of scary. Tries to go to the menu a little bit. Get a little frazzle right there, Ricardo. I mean, this is what we need to see more from Keza.
I mean, one thing Blake's doing anytime Keza rocks him, Keza's throwing a jab, a rear hook, lead uppercut, and Blake's slipping off to his right all the time for that third punch. It'd be interesting to see if Keza can make that read and fire off a lead hook as well. Maybe that could sit Blake down, and then he could take it down to the wrestling, and then we'd see what happens there, because that would be an intriguing one to say the least.
Yeah, and we see Keza and trying to answer back, but gets countered so easily. Tries to go for a front kick right there, not really landing. We see Keza, he needs to be very careful. He was able to get a little bit of momentum, but now is able to be back at square one as Blake Tyler trying to sucker his opponent and try to get the counters back in, knowing he has the combinations. But so far, Keza has put it on his opponent a little bit nicely. And that moment was just the right moment. Oh my goodness, but the stamina so low, people. Keza able to make this a dirty fight, and we're into a dirty round right here as we see Keza trying to find his way in, trying to find his way back. But Blake Tyler says, you want to do more? You need to do more, because I'm still on the prowl. I'm still winning this fight.
Keza
so crazy.
Predictable.
Man, back and forth, a tough spot here. Blake might be able to get him. He put him away. Oh my goodness. What a fight that was. Back and forth they go. You saw so much momentum building for Keza. Blake stomps his feet, flips his head, rips, and he wins the fight just like that. Blake Tyler moving on.
I mean, I think it was right there for Keza. He had him rocked one or a few times, and he threw the exact same combo. Blake made the read, slipped off the same every single time. And then Keza, his combinations just got a bit repetitive. He threw that straight lead hook, straight 1-2 many times. Blake got the counter, and then eventually just sat him down. I mean, I honestly think it was Keza. I think he could have easily won this one from him. I think Blake probably underestimated a little bit, but I think Keza will be angry with himself in that one.
Yeah, it was a fight. It was a definite fight. You saw both guys able to land, able to use more of their strikes, but Blake Tyler has been in these situations before, and he was able to get the next one. And that's how you want to end the round of 16. We have eight people who are able to win this tournament. And Luber, going to you, you were just about to jump in, but how excited are you for this quarterfinals? I mean, every single fight has been absolutely insane and bonkers in the Invitational.
Oh, yeah, man. This tournament was stacked. We knew that coming in here. Now, each round, the stakes are higher. People are going to be a little bit more on edge. I mean, you're going to see the difference come out and who's able to compete under pressure, who's really going to perform their best in these circumstances, because these players are all very good. Now, looking at the 8 people in there, I think there are 4 names that stick out to me, and that's JC, Fadinator, Blake, and J Rabo. Now, I don't want to discredit anybody else in there. I think everyone's got a shot, but I thought J Rabo looked real good. If he get by Blake, he's got a good chance in the finals. He's a tough matchup for anyone. But the Fadinator looks so good in his fight against Gamp that I don't know if anyone's really looked that good tonight so far. Obviously, we only saw middleweight, one fight at flyweight. So the weight classes will change things up real quick here. We might see some light heavyweight fights. That'll be a real wrinkle in things. I'm excited to see how this plays out.
Yeah, one other name that we have to mention, FSK Optic, is the guy who has the bounty on his head, able to defeat Davikin. We'll have to see how he goes in this tournament. Can he keep up the bounty? Because the performance bonus, the bounty, the winner spot is still all on the line, and he had an impressive performance. So we'll have to see what he does. But going to you, Ricardo, there's so many names, there's so many people. We know the storylines of all these competitors going through the groups. Some people getting an invitation to get into this tournament. What are you expecting in this quarterfinals round of fights?
I mean, we've got legends of the game, really. We've got JC21, been in the SFL since the SFL 100, former champion of Baby Nash, former, was it E-League champion Luba? I'm sure you'll know.
He's an ESFL champion, but he also, yes, he did win that very first season of the UFC Esports League.
We've got KM Liam. KM Liam is a veteran, really. He's been around since UFC 3. Luba, you know him from UFC 3, fighting him and stuff like that. Blake, double champion in the SFL. J Robbo, I mean, great player there. Holloway, another great player who's newly emerged as long as J Robbo. I mean, it's going to be an intriguing one to say the least. I can't pick a winner, honestly.
You know, I don't blame you because all these fights have showed us that anything is possible. All these guys have the ability, but now after being in the round of 16, able to advance, now there's a little bit more pressure. Now there's a little bit more scouting. We now know what you're going to be doing for the money. So it's all about what you're going to do, plan your strategy, mind games upon my games, ladies and gentlemen. Because not only in the round 16, we had either middleweight or flyweight, but now it's two different weights and they're very different between each other. Featherweight and light heavyweight are now going to be their quarterfinal weight classes for both of these competitors. So going to you, Luber, before we get into our first matchup of the quarterfinals, how different of a mentality do you have to use with these weight classes? Because you want to go for speed or do you want to go for power?
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of featherweight. I mean, we talked about that kind of pocket pick of going light heavyweight to try to bring out a wrestling matchup that might favor you. There's a couple guys who might do that, but pretty much all these guys are very, very good at featherweight and know the meta there and are comfortable there. And by that, I'm saying there's a lot of very good McGregor players, man. I mean, you got the Holloway pick, you got some other picks at the weight class, but some of these guys, it's just who they've used since the game was released, who they've used since UFC 3. They know every inch of his animations, his speed, how much distance you need to maintain. So we could be seeing some very high level fights. It'd be interesting to see some McGregor mirror matches. And in that scenario, in that, kind of McGregor versus McGregor fest that we may be entering, I think you're going to see somebody like JC come out on top. I think you're going to see somebody like Blake do very well. It'll be very interesting to see how it goes.
Yeah, and going to you, Ricardo, we see the Conor McGregor mirror match happen. It's very dangerous using Conor McGregor. It's a pro and con strategy. I mean, his power, his precision in the featherweight division is very nice, but you need to be careful if you don't really have a solid ground game in your disposal in going to this matchup.
I mean, it, McGregor, it can go against you and it can go for you. Obviously, that power, it can work a treat for you. And all it takes is one reeler. So it puts you in a very dangerous situation if you're striking in this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, now the time for talk is over. Now it's time for action as we're in the first fight of our quarterfinals of the FSK Invitational. Again, Optics in the red gloves going against JC21, another one of his competitors in the blue. And so far,
Oh!
nice combinations landing as a left hook landed nicely for Optics. And Optics, this is what we saw in this last contest.
Oh!
Able
Lovely
to get the
looking
strips,
strike.
able to get the strikes, and just make his opponent make a mistake.
Woo-hoo-hoo.
This is what you want to see from Optics, the bounty kid.
Oh yeah, man. That looked his head movement's looking good. He catching JC on the chin. It's kind of funny, there was a time JC was in the similar position as Optics. He was the young gun. He was the one that people weren't sure is he gonna
Oh,
take over
lovely.
the scene. And Optics is doing very well.
Yeah, and Ricardo, you were just saying lovely to his striking. You're just seeing just nice precision, nothing being wasteful in his strikings, but he needs to be very careful to not get overzealous. We saw that in the previous couple of fights where someone gets very in love with their striking and they kind of lose sight of what was actually working for them, being unpredictable and
Mhm.
everything.
I mean, yeah, the health stats in this one, they seem to be going in Optics' favour. Obviously, he hasn't had a knockdown or health event, anything like that yet. But with the way how this is going early, you would think it is going to go Optics' way. But like I said, JC's been around for a long time. He's a veteran in the community, so he's without a doubt not even out of this one so far.
Yeah, and already we're seeing optics. He's going a little bit back on his foot and then able to land an uppercut, just standing a little bit low. But then we're seeing JC able to try to be the aggressor, try to attack the body a little bit, change it up a little bit. And when he sees his opponent going forward, just get him with the right hook and is landing very nicely. But now we're in a phone booth a little bit trying to get the jabs in, but not really
Yeah,
able to land. As we're seeing, I'm still seeing Optics doing some nice job, but that block gauge is getting
hopefully.
low for him very nicely there, Luber.
I'm,
Yeah, Optics is playing in a way where he's favoring volume over position, right? He's throwing an exchange and then backing up, and JC's getting him near the cage. But every time he's in a position to take advantage of it, Optics lands a combo, circles off, and they reset. So he's gassing himself out potentially with these punches. But I mean, if you're getting tired because you're punching your opponent in the arms or head too much, I think you're doing all right. So very, very good start for Optics here.
I mean, I think Optics can take a risk. I think he can risk an exchange in the pocket in the hope if it knocks JC down. We see the advantage for him now in the
Oof.
health stats. So I think if he goes into an exchange with JC, I think he will come out on top. So I think he should just take that risk, maybe get a knockdown. But yeah, definitely going the way of Optics so far. Definitely give round one to him, but there's still 15 seconds left, so anything can happen.
Yeah, and one key note that what I'm seeing from Optics, every time he just stands still, he's going for an uppercut.
Oh,
He usually tries to pull his opponent in, he stops and lands that uppercut, and it's been working for him nicely. But we saw a little bit right there from JC. He was able to use the pull, so I feel like he's reading it right now as we go into the second round. Let's see how the adaptability plays out as we again. JC 21 in the blue gloves going against
lovely from
Optics
JC.
in the red, already getting hit in the body and Luber. This is a good start from JC.
Yeah, I mean, I think if JC has any advantage right now, it's in information. He's seen a lot more from Optics. He has a little bit better read on his combinations. He can maybe get the prediction out there and get a big
Oh,
counter. But Optics is putting in work. He's mixing it up and he's destroying that block and head health of JC.
Yeah, and we're seeing a little bit more of the head health blinking for JC. JC needs to be careful of these trades. He can't afford a lot along with that block case. And you see total strikes landed very even, but not even on the head health or the block health. But right now, Optics pressing forward, not really going his opponent into an uppercut, trying to get his way back in. But a front kick
oh.
will change that as the range was just perfected by JC21. And Ricardo, going to you. JC, it seems like he's being a little bit more aggressive. He wants to put his opponents back to the cage and maybe try to land another front kick.
I mean, one thing that's big noticeable in this one is the stamina advantage for JC. Obviously, we see Optics with a massive advantage in like the head health, but that stamina advantage, if it gets into round three, that could be massive for JC in exchanges. But
Yeah,
Optics fighting brilliantly here up to now, so it might not even need the third round.
yeah, who knows? Anything is possible in the second round, especially with the combinations that these guys are landing. I'm surprised we're not seeing much of the straight being landed. We know that's a key move from Conor McGregor, but so far we see Optics playing a little bit back, trying to play a little bit further, trying to go his opponent in, attack the
Oh,
body.
he's rocked
And,
him!
but a combination right there will cause JC to change everything up. But the stamina was so low for Optics, he couldn't really capitalize right there, Luber.
Yeah, JC trying to take advantage of Optics continuously moving backwards after an exchange, right? Getting distance. So he throws that leg kick or that body kick out there, but
Mm-hmm.
Optics decides, no, I'm going to plant my feet and throw a two-piece, catches him clean on the chin. Huge rock there. The way JC's playing, he's waiting for Optics to make a mistake, right? He's keeping a tight guard up. He's letting him land little shots, and he's waiting for the big counter. But Optics isn't making mistakes, man. He's missed one or two punches maybe that he shouldn't have thrown, but otherwise, this is a very, very clean performance from him.
Yeah, and I'm liking the planting of the feet for both of these competitors. When you really want to throw strike, because you know your opponent's going to go in. Both of these guys have been trying to be the aggressor, but that's the thing I'm worried about. JC tried to go for another body shot, but if he was even closer, that might have been a punishable situation. But the pulls and the stamina being so low and the duck down was very close for Optics. This is very scary for both of these competitors,
Oh, he's from the
especially
McKay.
for JC as he
Oh,
gets red.
oh,
And now we
lovely
see
from
more competitors
JC.
trying to pull in, but the stamina is so low for Optics, unleashing the gas tank right there, Ricardo.
I mean, JC looked in trouble then, but he pulled out an unreal counter, kept him in it. I mean, he hit the body of Optics when the stamina was low, so I mean that weakens the stamina and the body health when he's
Oh,
down.
the slip.
Flawless, really, from Optics. You'd think the stamina could be better, but apart from that, he's fighting this fight perfectly.
Yeah, that's the exchange he made, right? I'm gonna throw a lot of punches. I know that I'm gonna lose the stamina battle, and maybe he didn't want to lose it this bad, but everything else is going his way. The block is so low, the head health is so low for JC. Optics, as long as he doesn't overextend himself and make himself more vulnerable than he needs to be, he should walk away with this. I mean, every exchange he should win.
I agree with you. Oh, there's pressure for
Oh,
JC's
the
head.
combos. He wants to get into the semifinals right here. Oh, but the head kick not really landing only on the armpit or shoulder for Optics. Optics, oh my goodness, he almost had a chance. It was just out of his range, not really getting much of the damage right here.
Ah,
Oh,
JC lands!
JC trying to be in the semifinals, but the stamina able to work in his benefit. But Optics, he's kind of being a defensive right now.
Oh
He
my
doesn't have
God,
all
there's
the
pressure
This
from
is why he's
JC.
getting
I
up-
think that's
uppercut landing. JC is going to the semifinals of the FSK Invitational. Impressive performance from JC right there, Luber.
The man flipped a switch. He fought one way for the first 2 rounds. Let that stamina advantage build up. You saw Ricardo looking at it, eyeing it up, saying that's not too good for Optics. And no, indeed, JC putting on the pressure at the end, letting loose and letting those hands go. And man, what a win for him. What a comeback. That was huge. And I think he won $20 out of that, didn't he?
He did. He is the first person to claim any kind of prize reward tonight. That is $60 in the bag for JC21. Jesus, $20. Sorry.
I was
so
like, okay, let's up the stakes a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he claims a bounty of Optics. Optics fought well in that one. The first round, he performed great. Second round, he had the 3 knockdowns to 0. I mean, it was going perfectly in his way, but JC just flipped the switch in that third round, was able to get the finish. Greatly done there from JC.
Yeah, and that's the main point that I saw in the fight. The whole story of it was we saw Optics really put on his opponent, really trying to get the strikes in, but he used so much of his stamina. It wasn't able to put away JC21 at all. He was able to get some good strikes, but it wasn't enough. And then when you go to the third and final round, JC, with all the stamina in his tank, with all the combinations, you knew it was only a matter of time before that defensive shell cracked down. And now we see JC21, our first semifinalist of the FSK Invitational, but waiting for him in the other side of the bracket, Holloway, Fadinator. Both of these guys had such impressive performances. Luber, when you see these guys going into light heavyweight, I'm telling you, we love chaos in this bracket. What do you expect in this crazy matchup right here?
Man, this is a fight that was supposed to happen in the ESFL at ESFL 150. Unfortunately, Holloway unable to make it that day. So we're going to run it back here. You see 8-8 is their record against each other. I was very curious about what that would look like. This is going to be interesting. I mean, the meta at light heavyweight is kind of up in the air. You see Jan Blachowicz being locked in for both guys. You're going to get your striking and grappling out of that. I am curious who picked this weight class, and was there a ban that came out, Ricardo?
So Holloway was a better seed, so he did pick the weight, and the weight he did pick was light heavyweight.
Wow.
There we go. So some strategy coming out. I mean, Holloway's grappling second to none, but Fadinator, I mean, Ricardo, you could speak on this. The champ has it all. He can do it all. He was actually kind of more known as not a pure striker coming into his ESFL run. By the end of it, one of the best strikers in the game, but I think he can handle the grappling here from Holloway. What do you think?
Yeah, how you talking about Alfad's one of the best strikers in this game? One of the things why he is the best strikers in this game is because of the pressure striking, and obviously in this heavier weight it neutralizes it. In the last tournament, Fad did fight Ed Parker, and Ed Parker did take that onto light heavyweight as well. So obviously people are scared of the pressure of Fad, and I can't blame him because obviously this weight does massively neutralize that pressure.
Yeah, and already in the action again, Fadinator in the red trunks and red gloves, going against the other quarterfinalists in his opponent Holloway. Both of these guys had very impressive performances. Can they do it again and meet JC21 in the semifinals? Already we're seeing uppercuts being landed, and the power is so much different than featherweight that you need to make sure that you're on your P's and Q's. You're not letting yourself get hit by too many strikes. And we see Fandinator, he's getting like hit a little bit, but this is what he doesn't want. I was gonna say maybe he gets the answer back, but we see Holloway putting that work in and now trying to take it to the ground right there, Luber.
Yeah, I mean that pressure coming out from Fadinator. That's we were talking about how it's not as effective at this higher weight class. So you can see the punishment when he misses a shot. Holloway sitting back at the back to the cage, but he found the spot, the slip straight over, lead overhand, gets the takedown to follow it up. Man, he's looking very good in this position.
Oh, reversal from Fad.
It's not looking that good in this position. He's looking worse in this position than he was in the previous one. Yeah, Fadinator, let's see. I mean, he's obviously with the Rockies down in this round, but maybe he wants to get some work done on the ground, get some stats built up in his favor.
Yeah, and this is what you need to do. This is what you want to have. At least 3 or 4 posture up opportunities before that timer goes down as we hit the 130 mark of the first round right here. So far, just take your time, be patient. Always realize that denials are not going to always come, but that is a very huge denial for Fadinator. Fadinator trying to put some work on his opponent.
Whoa.
The jabs, the hooks, the straights, and that handheld is blinking a bit right there, Ricardo.
I mean, in the last one as well, the Fad versus Ed Park one where it did get taken as like heavyweight. Fad was struggling a lot on the feet, and the success where he did find it was on the ground, and it was especially in top mount. So maybe we see it
like this.
Yeah, not like that. It was a bit more devastating. I'd say Ed Park was trapped in it really. Lucky to survive, but maybe we see Fad do that more in this fight. Look to initiate the grappling.
Yeah, it worked really well. Able to get 2 posture up opportunities, able to get the screen a little bit red. But now it's up to Holloway. He needs to answer back as it's 44-40, and total strikes landed in favor of his opponent, Fadinator. But now it's up to Holloway. Can he avoid the takedowns? Can he find a way to keep it striking and able to get the damage on? Here we go. Second round in the second fight of our quarterfinals. Who is going to get the second semifinal slot? We will find out. And already uppercuts landing for Holloway, but not really doing much damage as the blockades was able to help out. But we see Fadinator being patient, trying to land his combinations, trying to go for a jab into the body, but nice straight. Uppercuts landing, and it's working very nicely. And just a little bit more. I'm surprised. How long is it going to take for Fadinator to go for the ground game again here, Luber?
You know, I think he's comfortable on the feet. I think he likes this pressure striking. He probably thinks he can get a lot of damage and win the fight by a knockout if he keeps it standing, because he does look good. You're going to see if he can start making Holloway miss, right? He's got the pressure, but if he can start making Holloway miss, then he can really start coming back with his own strikes and start putting on some real damage. Holloway doing a good job getting the clinch there, getting some relief from that pressure that Fadinator was putting on early.
Nice.
Oh my God. I never seen a pull into the body. I feel like that does like a lot of damage to the stamina and body. But Ricardo, going to you, you have to love the approach of going to the body, but also trying to open up the head a little bit more for Fadinator.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Fad just needs to mix it up more, really. He needs to initiate the wrestling, needs to attack the body more. And instead of just working the head, just attack all assets, really. And then everything else will follow from that.
Absolutely. As we are already halfway through the second round right here. Again, win or go home situation in the tournament. Everything is on the line. And we see Holloway having his back to the octagon cage right here. Trying to find his way in. Not able to get the slips because he keeps on getting hit to the body. But goes to the cleanse to get a little bit of a reprieve. Trying to land an uppercut. But using a lot of his stamina. But a good denial from Fadinator. And Fadinator doing such a nice job. Just keeping it calm. Not really going too slow or too fast. But keeping up a consistent pressure right here, Luber.
Yeah, Fad did a great job in the clinch there, getting his own damage off. Oh, big uppercut. Holloway.
call him miscalculated because he's flipping the script, reversing it a little bit as we see a little bit of a momentum changer. Well, with 113 left in here, can Holloway going for? Oh, he actually initiates the clinch game. Ricardo, are you very surprised by this? I'm surprised he didn't try to go more for the striking.
I mean, he's won this round. It's in the bag. Get a takedown, secure the round, and then all he has to do is win the third round, and it's his fight. I think it's a smart move from Holloway. Very smartly done. Interesting to see how Fad will come out in this third round, because obviously with a weight class you can't really pressure like you normally would. So it'll be interesting to see how this one pans out.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say he's been trying to pressure. I mean, he's been pressuring, but it hasn't been effective, right? He hasn't taken over the fight with it. There's opportunities there if he can keep it up to kind of put something together, get that finish against the cage. It's definitely there for him. But is it 2 rounds now to Holloway, or that first round? Do you guys have opinions on it? I know there was a rock in favor of Holloway, but the ground control time in favor of Fad.
I think it probably goes to Holloway.
I will say I don't want to ever be a judge because you never know how the judges are going to score things. So you don't want to leave it to the judges. You want to actually get the finish right here in the third and final round again for a semifinal spot. A lot of money's on the line, so you really can't trust the judges. You need to act like this is your 0-2. You need to get a finish right here. As Fader is doing that just so in the red gloves. Well, Holloway trying to be a little defensive. Gets another rock, and that is the change that you needed with the head kick. Holloway. Can he end it right here? He needs one more strike, but doesn't get it again. Holloway in the advantage, getting the knockdown, getting the ground and pound, but here it is, the reversal. This is not what you wanted if you're Holloway right here, Luber.
No, and now Holloway's got to prevent that mount. You see there, he's camping it, gets to the first denial. Still good position for Fadinator, because Fadinator, maybe he could go to the feet and win the fight, but the cleanest path to victory right now, well I guess he's going to go to the feet and look for the knockout.
Yeah, I don't think he trusts his judges' scorecards. He wants to make sure he has an ample opportunity to put damage on his opponent. But this is very interesting. A little role reversal from what we saw in the first round right here. As we're seeing punches and punches right here. And a nice slip from Fadinator, able to get out of it. And Ricardo, this is kind of different from what we've been seeing.
I mean...
Whoa! It's a pole party. Shout out to Bruce Lee Rob, because it's insane right here as the rocks happen. And now we see Holloway trying to get a difference maker into the clinch. But right now, Fadinator able to get out of it. Can he do some love? He has 2 minutes to work right here, ladies and gentlemen. Who is going to take it? Who is not going to leave it to the judges' scorecards? But right now, stamina, very different. I think Holloway's in favorite, but you need to watch out for the pulls. The slips are very much in play right here, Ricardo.
I mean, Fad needs to do something massive.
Ooh.
Big counter, a takedown, and then some massive ground and pound. He needs a finish now.
Yeah, you saw him wind up big on that rear uppercut. He goes for it again there. He read the duck. When Holloway was in trouble, he ducked instinctively. I think he's trying to catch him on that again. Maybe break the block a little bit, and then follow up with that big uppercut.
Can he get the now? He gets it now. Okay, we're under 1 minute left. We saw Holloway's head health be super low. He's trying to go for the pull because he knows that blockade is not.
Oh!
Elites Holloway and makes it into the semifinals. It was just enough for the head kick. Then the blockage he knew was super low, and the bleed through worked to his favor. Unbelievable. Take a look at that replay. The straight into the head kick. Down goes Holloway. Unbelievable right there, Luber.
Oh my goodness, an absolute heartbreaker for Holloway. He had the fight in the bag. He just needed to hold on for another 30 seconds or less. I don't even know how much time was left. Coming out clutch, Fadinator, showing why he's championship material. Back against the wall, lands the jab, lands the straight, lands the head kick to put him away. Great win there. Fadinator on to the semifinals. Going to take on JC21. What a fight that's going to be.
Just the amazement of that fight. It was back and forth. That third round had everything. We're under 1 minute. We know Fadinator saw the blockades being low, saw the head health being low. He knew he couldn't go back to the ground, and we saw Holloway try to go to the ground a little bit more. He was having more success compared to his competitor, but when it comes to the stand-up game, We saw the home run hit, going for the fences, not waiting for the judges to dictate their fate. Fadinator went out and won it for himself. An incredible showing. And now we have one half of our semifinal set. JC21 is going to go against Fadinator in this incredible invitational hosted by FSK on FSK MMA on YouTube. But Ricardo, I know we're not done yet because we get the other side of the bracket, and now we have a huge banger of a fight coming up next, and that's a Bathing Ash going against KM Liam. And these guys have put a show in the first round of 16. But what are you expecting compared to these competitors in this matchup right here?
I mean,
He may be working in the back here with those guys. You're talking about
He's
the
so
Bathing Ash.
excited that he is speechless. Luke, going to you. How do you feel about this matchup going here?
Yeah. No, man, I love this matchup. Both these guys are some of the longest standing people in the community going back to the UFC 3 days, especially a Bathing Ash, man. He was a legend before there were any other legends. Just an absolute killer, and he's exciting and entertaining to watch. I think that one thing that's stood out with him in his UFC 4 run is the game does play into his style, as opposed to UFC 3, where you're maybe trying to land one or two strikes. Ash is going to get in the pocket. He's going to fire out whatever comes to mind. He's going to flow. He's going to land good boxing combos. But Pyrite Kip is really good at dealing with that style. He's very good at slipping, making people gas themselves out. You may see times in this fight where Bathing Ash misses a punch and Pyrite Kip doesn't counter. He doesn't land the body shot that's there or something like that. And you're thinking to yourself, why isn't he being more aggressive? But he does that all fight long. Then you get to the second, the third round. He's a huge stamina advantage, which I think we'll see play out if he can survive the early onslaught from Ash. And then he can pull away. So really just a really cool matchup. And you're going to see McGregor's, but not the McGregor mirror. You got the old McGregor versus the new. I like it. I like this fight a lot.
Yeah, and it's interesting that he didn't go with a old style McGregor. He went with the 4-star McGregor, which is still shocking to me that I'm seeing that in the UFC game. But interesting to see what Liam is going to do. Maybe he believes that he's going to have more power, more better stats compared to the old style McGregor here, Ricardo.
I mean, the 4-star McGregor did get nerfed recently. I'm pretty sure it had -3 head health and minus on the recovery stats as well. I think so. A lot of people are now shying away from the. I was going to say the OG, but it's the newer McGregor in a sense. But yeah, we're now seeing a lot of people go for the Portishead McGregor. So I think it's just personal opinion, really, of what you prefer. I prefer the bald-headed McGregor. So.
Fair enough, fair enough. As we are into our third fight of the quarterfinals right here, one of these guys will go on to the semifinals, and we'll have to see as we see Liam in the red gloves using current style Conor McGregor going against a Bathing Ash who is using vintage Conor McGregor in the white trunks and blue gloves. And all right, we're seeing some good maneuvers, some good striking from both competitors. Liam using a lot of that stamina. We don't know what's happening for a Bathing Ash, but you have to assume that you need to be very careful with your stamina right here, Luber.
Yeah, I think he's doing good so far, right? He's sniping them. He's sitting a little bit outside of that boxing hook range, and he's stepping in with a hook or he's stepping in with a jab. Whatever it is, he's getting the first shot to land on Kip, which is big because he's looking to slip, right? So if you can start peppering that block, you slow down the head movement. It's a good approach by Ash, and he's gonna try to find a read off that. So I don't know. I think it's a really good, smart start from Ash, and I think if he keeps this up, he probably will pull away before too long.
Yeah, head kick landing along with the combinations right there from a Bathing Ash. And so far, Liam trying to use those slips. We know the slips are working nicely, and that's going to be a one key game plan that he's going to be using. Now, will we see a Bathing Ash adapt as he's doing right here? Or it could go either way. You have to think, Ricardo, very interesting game plans with under 2 minutes in this first round right here.
I mean, yeah, we're seeing Liam with that style that he always uses. Patient, really. Minimal strikes, really. Capitalising when he can, looking to set up the counters. Bathing Ash seems to be a little bit more patient in this one than he usually is. Maybe just trying to feel out what's Liam going to do and then make the reads and then go for it. But at the moment, it's just quite slow to start. Be interesting to see how it picks up through the fight.
And we'll have to see what goes on as there's still plenty of time to put some damage and rock your opponent. And we see Liam pushing the kick around his opponent, trying to land on the body. It gets a nice 1-2, but Ash trying to answer back, and he does.
Oh my
It's just a barrage. Bunch some missiles going through the head.
Oh,
Vintage
big reversal.
goes in reverses, and now it's up to Liam, and he's going for. Oh, I thought it was going to be a submission, but now we're into side control. But very scary for Liam right there, Luber.
Yeah, I mean the fight was like we were getting lulled to sleep, right? It was not slow, but they were not throwing big combos. They weren't throwing knockdown combos. They're just trying to land little shots here and there. And then Ash just gets a scent of blood, throws the 4-piece, hits him 4 times on the way down to the ground. I mean, it's crazy there wasn't a knockout there, but a great way to take the round over. And I think, in terms of damage done, I don't think Liam has landed too much on Ash. So Ash should be in pretty good shape here. As long as his stamina's in good shape.
And Ricardo, going to you, do you think the slips for Liam is going to find his way to go back into this contest? Because, he already got knocked down. He had a vicious amount of combos landing on his head, and right now it's not looking good for him. What is his game plan to fight back in this contest in the second round?
I mean, it's tricky this one because we've seen in his last fight with Leaks, he was Moreno, and he had a big durability on his side there. In this one, he's the weaker pick in terms of the health stats. So it's not even like he can rely on that and then try and work a counter. I think he just has to pull something magic out of the bag really to even the playing field.
One thing I have liked is he's gone to that front kick. He's thrown it as a body teep and he's thrown the front kick, but just that rear leg coming up the middle, and he almost caught Ash clean one time on a mid combination. So that's something to keep an eye out for, I think, going into this.
Yeah, but they're fighting the phone booth as we're getting closer and closer to the end of the second round. 3 minutes, a little over 3 minutes remaining in the second round right here. And one thing I'm seeing also is these elbows landing very nicely, and we see a Bathing Nash going on the prowl. But every time they stop in the phone booth, it seems that a Bathing Nash is just getting the benefit of these trades, and we're not seeing much of the slips or movement from Liam, and it's to his punishable situation. Can we see an end? And that is it. A Bathing Nash is going into your semifinals, and we only have one more spot to go, but he is a heavy out if you want to make it to the finals right there, Luber.
Man, I don't know if he got touched. He's ready to go out dancing right now. No damage taken, basically. What a clean elbow, too, at the end there. We're going to see the replay. Slips the hook, comes right over the top with the lead elbow. That just looks pretty. Able to get it done. Man, Ash, if he's going to fight like that, if he's going to fight smart and going to fight to his opponent, right? Whatever his opponent's giving him, he reacts to it. That's when he's at his best. And there's money on the line. He wants to win. It'll be real interesting to see if he can do that in his next fight.
I mean, one thing from a Bathing Nash in that one, he did actually set up the pull elbow. He drew out the hook, and then he was ready and anticipating to go for the pull elbow. I mean, very smart move from him there. Obviously, Liam, great counter striking himself, but Ash just outsmarted him in that one. Very well played from Ash, and I'll be intrigued to see how he does against the winner of J. Robbo versus Blake Tyler. That will be next. What a fight that is going to be.
Yeah, what a fight that is going to be. And along with these competitors fighting, I mean, when you face one of those guys, you also have to face on the other side of the bracket because, there's nothing but killers. We trimmed the fat, everyone showed up and showed out, but now we're getting to the nitty gritty where if you lose right now, you just feel devastated because you feel like you have a chance in this invitational in all the money and the winnings, and we still have a performance bonus, so everyone needs to put on their best show. But going into the last contest of the quarterfinals, Robbo versus Blake. We know Blake had a hell of a fight going against Keza, but then Jay, he also had a little bit of a fight against Peace. So, Luber, when you look at this matchup, what's at stake for both these competitors? Do you feel like Blake finally has gotten warmed up and now is ready to take on the world, or do you think Jay kind of has Blake a little bit shaky after he had to sneak out a win against Keza?
Yeah, I think what's online in this fight is it's in their heads $200. I think legitimately, as this fight starts, both guys are thinking, if I can get past this guy, I think I'll win it all. Now, obviously, you still got Fadinator, you still got JC, and even Ash could take a win over either of these guys. But this matchup is going to really put the person who wins it in great shape to move forward into that finals and then into that money. So I think they're going to take it seriously. And for Blake Tyler, that might be all he needs, man. If he's playing smart, if he's playing on, he almost never loses. And I think he respects Jay Robinson. You can see Bravo's got 8 wins over him. Now, I will say Blake, he doesn't always look like Blake Tyler, especially in the opening sequences of a fight. Sometimes it's pretty close and then he pulls away. If Jay Rabo can get a lead going, that'd be a very, very good thing for him for obvious reasons, but particularly in this matchup where he is a really good grappler, and maybe that's the way he can get an edge over on Blake Tyler.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is what it's all about. The final fight of the quarterfinals. Someone needs to go home, and another one we need for the money in the tournament. As we see Rabo, excuse me, in the blue gloves going against Blake Tyler in the red. Conor McGregor mirror match. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I keep wanting to say Rabo too, but then I remember
Yeah,
Robo. I just
because I
keep seeing
so
that
many
Mrs.
robots
Robin.
in Robo. It's like it changes everything up. It's like Fatinator and Fadinator. You're like tomato. Who even cares? We just saying the names right. But going to the fight right here, it seems like we were about to be in the fill out process, but we're seeing Jay trying to answer and get some combinations going. I'm loving the jabs that he's landing, trying to get that blockade low, and Blake Tyler needs to be aware of that. But for Blake Tyler, what does he need to do? And I'm leaving this to you, Ricardo. What does he need to do to just break up the strikes from Jay?
I mean, one thing that I find when I fight Robinson, one bit of success I have is if you look to stop him when he's going to the body. If you can go to the body and get a lead on you, drain that body and then drain your stamina because of it, it's not looking good for you. So you can stop the body attack of J Robo. I think he'll have a good chance of winning in this one.
Ooh, you saw Teeps landing early for Jay Robinson. A nice spin kick from Blake coming, kind of getting back that body damage. Those always hit like trucks. And also Blake right away getting the pressure advantage, right? Jay Rabo backing up against the cage. We've seen all night that that's not necessarily going to win you a fight. You need the pressure, but you also need to land and defend. So if Rabo can get those big counters, get the pressure off of him, he's going to be in good shape. And look at that body uppercut. That was nasty.
Yeah, and I'm seeing what Jay is doing. I like what he's going. He's going a little bit back and forth, trying to goat his opponent into coming forward. But you see that little sway trying to like disrupt his timing a little bit, and he's getting some slips. It's working very nice, but needs to be careful with all that stamina being used right there and not really landing as much. Blake Tyler, he's gonna eat that up so many times, so you need to be on your P's and Q's with it. But so far, so good for both of these comparisons. I'm not really seeing any much of a difference. Just Blake Tyler being more of the aggressor right here, Ricardo.
I mean, the big question is Blake Tyler still the same fighter as when he won that second belt in the SFL? I mean, the fighter he was then, he was unreal, he was flawless in his fights. And we've seen him, Kezala almost did beat him if he fought that one a little bit smarter. We might have seen a winner. And Jay Robo fighting very well right now. Is like Blake's focus still there? It's a big question coming into this one.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing. With money on the line, you'd think, okay, that's a motivator. People are going to get a lot of reps in, but sometimes people see a money tournament and they just like, well, I'm good at this game. I'm going to sign up for it, even if you're not grinding the way you used to. And it's really, you can't tell if Blake, that was the case for him off of that first fight. But that is, I mean, if he's not on point, if he's not 100% Blake, then he is in a lot of trouble because Jay Rabo is a very, very good player who is on point now, who is actively competing.
Yeah, he is actively competing, and with 25 seconds left, I'm just liking the strategy from Jay right now. He's able to use those jabs. He's letting his opponent go crazy, and then he's being a little bit pro-reactive in that way, where he's going his opponent to just let him throw his strikes, and now he's coming back with a strike of his own, and he's landing a little bit more. Blake Tyler, let's see if he adapts in this whole situation, because it's 34-24 in favor of Jay with his striking right there, Ricardo.
I mean, you would think that round goes to J Robo. I mean, better striking on the feet. No rocks or anything so far. But you'd think if you're J Robo, just look to carry on doing what you're doing. If you're Blake, I'd say you need to look for the openings. Maybe draw something out of Robo and then go for a big counter. But if you're Robo, carry on doing what you're doing here.
I think you're right. I mean, obviously these guys and yourself are at a different level when it comes to understanding the fight strategies, but it does seem like Rabo's doing what he wants to do and having success. But that said, do you think he won that first round? I mean, it was very close. Is it a clear win, or is it maybe something that he can't rely on?
I'd say it's a clear win, but when you think about it, you can't rely on it. You never know how
I would say it could possibly be a split opportunity. Like, you don't want to. It could go either way with it, but I just like the way Jay is using his strategy, but now he's getting hit with some ones and twos, and that's not really looking fine. I feel like Blake has finally got his rhythm back because now he's able to learn about his opponent, maybe a little bit of a download. But these combinations, if Jay is not being patient, use those jabs a little bit more, attack the body, he might be in a little bit of trouble because these trades are going more in favor of Blake right here, Luber.
Yeah, and it's interesting. We were talking about how J Rumble has to keep.
Oh!
Big uppercut. Blake pouring it on. J Rumble able to escape, backing up a little bit there. We were saying he needs to keep doing what he's doing, but what he was doing was mixing it up effectively, keeping Blake at a at outside of boxing range. Right? He was able to back up.
Oh my goodness. He listened, he learned, and he said the commentators right there, I'm gonna do that darn thing. And now Jay, after getting rocked, now brings his opponent down into side control right here with a little over 2 minutes to go. Now this would be very interesting. Can Jay keep Blake Tyler down on the ground for 2 minutes? It sounds like it's gonna be a hard feed, but Blake Tyler, he's gonna find a way to get out of this because he can't get hit consistently in his ground game because he's gonna lose the judging in this round right here, Ricardo.
I mean, J Robo does have very good ground game, but Blake's anti-wrestling is unbelievable. So it'd be interesting to see how this matches out. Obviously, it's Conor McGregor, so they're not going to have the best denials. They can, but if Robo can hold him here, you would think that's possibly 2 rounds in the bank for J Robo. Be intriguing to see how he approaches the 3rd round. If it does stay like this, a reversal from Blake, very nicely done. But yeah, be intriguing to see how both of these men approach it in the 3rd round if it does stay like this.
Yeah, with 50 seconds left, we are getting closer and closer to that 3rd and final round for the final semi-final spot of the FSK Invitational right here. Blake Tyler, I'm ready to see possibly one pause round, but the denial right there from Jay, doing a nice job. And now I feel like he's comfortable of just punching from his back, able to get the reverse right there. And that's not what you need if you're Blake Tyler. But Blake Tyler, he just needs to survive, and he'll have another chance. But Luber going into this 3rd and final round, especially with these punches and bunches, he needs to throw the kitchen sink because it might be scary time for him. Might be gut check time.
Yeah, you saw, I think, at the end of that round there, very clearly J Robo was happy to take the round and ride it out on the ground. He was camping that posture up from Blake because he knew that's the only way they're getting back to the feet. So if they do go back to the ground, I think we're going to see more of the same. J Robo just trying to kill the clock, win the fight by points. And that does put Blake in a near impossible position. But how many times today, as the game's freezing up a little bit here, how many times?
Oh! Hello? Are you sir? Anyone?
Is it just lagging on my end or is that on Ricardo's end?
Might be on my end. It's fine for me.
You guys are roboting for me, and I think I'm back. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear
Yes.
you. Perfect.
Okay, so I'm assuming there was a rock because I'm watching the stream on my other screen, but so far, go ahead.
There was 2 rocks.
It was 2 rocks in favor of Blake. I'm assuming
1 for each. Blake got a knockdown and Robo got a rock as well.
All right, so we're and a rock happened here. Oh, but a nice pull right there from Blake, trying to get away from that damaging position. But Blake Tyler, we saw 2 rocks go for each competitor, 1 for 1. But now another rock for Jay. This could be anyone's fight. You don't want to leave it to judges' scorecards. We're halfway through the 3rd and final round. You gotta throw the kitchen sink. This is mom spaghetti time right here, Luber. Oh my God.
Game of inches right there. Both guys just barely missing. The hook gets pulled and then the counter is just a little too far away. Yeah. The
uppercut.
Up kick keeps him alive. I was going to say, this is the position we just saw Fadinator in. Down 2 rounds, most likely on the scorecard with a better wrestler, and you just got to pressure, defend the takedown.
This
Blake
is
Tyler.
dangerous. Stamina is low for Blake Tyler. The
Ooh,
blockade
ooh.
is low. The hook is in, but the uppercut changes everything. 120 left. Here we go. Will we see Blake Tyler find his way to get a finish? Blockade low. Head held consistently blinking. Jay smelling blood in the water. Tries to go for the head kick. Not really landing. The pulls is telling the story of these last minute.
Beautiful.
Uppercut lands. Uppercut lands. Blake Tyler, can he find a way to win it? But he can't. Not just yet, Ricardo. This
Oh,
is
the half
insane.
guard.
I mean, one thing as well, you would think if Robbo can make it out of this round, it probably is his fight. We give the first 2 rounds to him. So you're just sort of trying to survive here. Give him sprawl. You can't really finish
I
it
don't
from
know. It could be a split, but we
Oh,
got
nice.
10 seconds. Never mind. Another pause opportunity. He can steal it right here. Can he
Oh.
end it? Oh, reversal. And we will go into the judges' scorecards, and it's going to be very interesting. We might see a split. We might see a unanimous, but I can't tell you who won. Luber, who do you think won that? Like, who do you think has to win right here? Oh, no. Jay wins. We
Jay
actually see it
won
right
it.
there.
Yeah. They don't. The decision. The scorecards are not up. But we were saying that first round was close. Most likely Jay Robinson. The second round clearly Jay Robinson. Third round could have gone to Blake, but I don't think it was enough for a 10-8. Right? That really wasn't on the table at that point. So yeah, I mean, you saw Blake doing everything he could to get that finish at the end, emptying the gas tank. Just not enough, man. Jay Robinson hangs on. Gets the win over Blake Tyler in the FSK Invitational with $200 in the finals. Man, what a win that is. That's one to write down and remember.
Ricardo, going to you.
Mhm.
That fight literally had everything. You saw ground fighting, you saw knocks going back and forth, you saw strategy be implemented. Hopefully, if we can see the fight, the judges' scorecards, because I feel like it had to be a split, but it was very close
Yeah.
for both of these competitors right here, Ricardo.
I mean, we all thought Robbo had the first 2 rounds, but you can't bank on it in this game. I mean, anything could happen. That fight could be scored to Blake if you give him that second round. But yeah, very, very close fight. Now we're going to see J Robbo versus Babe and Ash. That's going to be an absolute great fight. And yeah, we don't get to see judges' scorecards, so we'll move on to the next one.
Yeah, and just go into this whole because we finally have our semifinals set up, and as you said, JC21 versus Fatinator, and now we have our other side of the semifinals set up. A bathing Ash going against who would have thought Jay Robbo in the other semifinal spot. We were talking in the background like maybe Blake has a chance to take this whole thing, but for him to get stopped it just changes the whole equation. We said nope, everyone has a chance, but now it really feels like everyone has a chance to win this invitational right here, Luber.
Yeah, of course. We saw Bathing Ash just walk through his last opponent, JC21, looking on form with a big win over Optics. But man, Fatinator, Jay Robinson, all of them can win it, and any fight, any combination is gonna be crazy. The story of these guys getting through their group stages, getting through the round of 16 people, some 16 of the best players in the world. Let's just say it. Of the maybe 30 best players in the world, we got 16 of them here. So this is a crazy tournament, and it's all coming down to these last 3 fights. Last 3 matches, right? Because the finals will get a best of 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's all been one and done. But when you get to the finals, that's a whole different thing. But going to the whole FSK Invitational, just been nonstop amazing fights. I'm super excited that Ricardo, you had us commentate and be a part of this amazing thing. It's been such a spectacular event. I've been super excited to be calling one of these things, especially in the off season of what our current league is. But so far, you have to be so impressed with how this invitation has been going through so far.
I mean, the one thing you want in an invitation when you hold events like this, you want massive upsets. You want things that people are going to talk about. Obviously, we had the Optics versus Dabican fight. Dabican, the first ever UFC 4 champion. And Optics went in there and took him out. Absolute great performance from him. We had the Holloway Jamie fight, 2 of the best on the game going forward. We had the Fadnator versus Gamp fight, that one. Holloway versus Fad, another banger. And then we had Optics again, showing strong against JC, but JC used that veteran experience to come through. And as well, like you had Liam stepping in on about 5 minutes' notice, beat Leaks, and then Robo beating who is actually classed as the GOAT in the UFC community, Blake Tyler. I mean, you can't really ask for much more. But one question I have for you two both: who is your contender for performance of the night bonus?
Ooh, I'll go first. I had Optics being the front runner
Mhm.
until JC21 got the victory against him. But I have to say, going through all the stakes and everything, I think Jay Bravo might be my leading contender of performance bonus. I don't know if you agree with that, Luber, but that's where I mean to defeat Blake that kind of fashion in the crazy fight, he has to be the number one guy for me so far.
Yeah, am I correct, Ricardo, in that the performance tonight is based off of one single fight, right?
One single fight, one single performance.
Yeah, for right now, I think I still got optics over Dabikin. I mean, it's not
Mm.
just that he beat somebody like Dabikin. It's Dabikin looked good, man. Dabikin was fighting well. He wasn't, throwing errant shots or anything like that. Optics just beat him, and he looked so clean doing it. The striking, I mean, you could see the mechanical abilities Optics has, and as his game improves, as he gets more familiar with the high level strategies and gets to know his opponents, I'm excited to see what this kid could do. So yeah, that fight alone, I think, was probably the most impressive I've seen so far. But there's been a handful. We're gonna have to definitely evaluate this as we close out the show here. How about you, Ricardo?
I'd agree with yourself. I think of what it was, Optics beating Dabikin. Dabikin been around the community for a long time. Went to ESFL Vegas, come third place there, and then like I said, the first ever EA Sports UFC ESFL 4 champion. I just completely got that out wrong, but you get the point I'm making. The fact
Hmm.
Optics went in there, beat him. I mean, like I said, he's been a massive underdog throughout the group stages and in that fight versus Dabikin. So for me, that is be the front runner at the moment,
Yeah,
along
I
with the Robo versus Blake on that one as well, because of the upset purely.
Yeah, along with that, I also want to Liam being a last minute replacement, able to win against Leaks. I feel like that also is
Mm.
in contention for me, and then also Fatinator versus Holloway Fatinator taking the victory. I also love that performance as well. I mean, there's so many good fights. It's hard to say which one has the benefit over the other, but I'm kind of in line with you guys with my top two. But I just want to shout those other guys out because they had like amazing performances as well.
Yeah.
I don't think we've had a stinker of a fight this whole card. I think every single
No,
one's been back and forth.
that's always that happens with the tournaments. You always think like, okay, maybe we'll have a little bit of a break, save our voices for like the finals and semifinals. Nope, every fight, every single fight has got me screaming or yelling because they have been all amazing. But I'm excited to get in the semifinal. I know our first matchup is JC21 versus Fatinator, and I think Ricardo, we're almost set to go with that. But going into the different weight classes, because in the semifinals, it's bantamweight and weatherweight. And for this contest, where do you think it's gonna go? And I see we're hovering on welterweight. Where do you see this fight going in our first semifinal matchup?
I mean, Fadner looks to be picking prime GSP there, and obviously with that, it gives him a big advantage wherever the fight goes. He can wrestle, he can strike, he can do a lot of things to JC if he does go decide to pick Masvidal. So, I mean, I'm intrigued to see how Fad does in this one. Will he look to take the fight to the ground? Will he look to strike with JC? Luba, if you're Fad and you have that GSP pick, what are you looking to do?
Yeah, I've been on the opposite side of this matchup. I've been the Masvidal player, and every time he fights, he gets nerfed. It sucks. Since the release of the game, he's really not the same fighter. But at the same time, somebody like JC21 with that boxing, with that clean, I mean, he could land something huge very fast. He can accumulate damage over the course of the fight, breaking through the block. I mean, there's just so many threats to deal with on the feet. Obviously, path of least resistance would be wrestling, but you can't wrestle JC21 without getting his respect on the feet. So use some of those tricks GSP has. He's very fast. He has some unique strikes. And as long as you're not getting hit on the chin, you can stand with him for a little while at least.
Yeah, you see these guys. This is the first semifinal of the FSK Invitational. Whoever wins this goes into the best of three final. So a lot on the line. As you see, JC21 in the blue gloves using Masvidal going against Fatinator in the prime GSP in the red gloves. And already no filling out process. We saw these guys warm in the previous 2 rounds, these guys want to show that they deserve the performance bonus and they deserve to be in the finals. And right now, we're seeing just Betinator doing a nice job, but the boxing, the striking from JC is keeping them at bay, and they're just fighting a phone booth right here, Luber.
Yeah, that lead hand coming out for JC, kind of establishing the range. We're going to see if he comes through with some big stuff on the back. And you see hook after hook there, taking advantage of what he thought would be Fadinator backing up. And he did get some good damage off there. He's winning these exchanges. Winning is not enough. He needs something big, I think. Otherwise, the stats difference and the wrestling threat of Fadinator will be a huge factor going forward. So good start for JC, but he's got to keep doing it. He can't let up.
I mean, one thing to mention as well. Obviously, we're seeing in the JC versus Optics fight, the stamina. Oh my god, what a counter!
Clean. Super clean from Fadinator, able to get the slip uppercut into the face of JC21, and that's going to be the first mark against him. Now it's up to both of these competitors. Will we see more strikes in the phone booth to the body from Fadinator? Will leave him up to be opened up, but
Lovely
will
from JC.
be
Nice
able to
block
answer
out.
back. But Ricardo, going to you. This is so far a good matchup for both these competitors. It seems like both of these guys can make one mistake and the other one could take advantage of.
Yeah, it was like I was saying just before Fad landed that. We've seen in the JC versus Optics fight the stamina advantage for JC, how that played a factor. If you look at the stamina now, Fad's getting a big early lead there, and especially with how he's working the body, I think that's going to be a big factor in this fight.
Yeah,
Yes.
very big. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say that's a crazy stamina lead this early into the fight, especially in this matchup with George St. Pierre, who's a cardio machine. It's going to be a mountain for JC to come through. I mean, he needs to land something like that, maybe even a little harder, start to get some momentum back in his favor because he's in a tough spot.
Yeah, but to give a lot, you have to take a lot. As we see another rock, but JC21, part of that no stam game, using a lot of stamina in this first round, but now into the wrestling, this is not where he wants to be. Gets able to get a denial off of that crucifix transition, but so far, this is not what you wanted against a GSP as 15 ago. He just needs to survive, and that stamina is so depleted. And now into the ground and pound, Fadinator able to take advantage, and he is able to be saved by the bell there, guys. Luber, going with you. This is scary for JC using the Masvidal.
Yeah, some basketball coming out there at the end of the round. Fadinator dribbling his head off the mat. It's just a brutal ground and pound. I mean, it's tough, man. It's tough for JC. We all know he's got the skills. He's got a combination or two out there that can turn the tide of the fight. You can see Fadinator's head held low. Traditionally, everyone knows GSP's chin is kind of his Achilles heel in this. Man,
The Rock is heavy. That heads the crowd. I don't know where I'm going with that. You're seeing knockdowns happen again as Fadinator has taken complete.
That's it. Oh my goodness.
Fadinator is your first finalist of the FSK Invitational. He will go on to the best of 3 to win all the money. Ricardo, run a performance.
I mean, we've seen Fad. He went through adversity in that one. He went through the wrestling to just secure the round, make sure he didn't get any damage. And then in the second round, he come out, made the adjustments in the striking, and then KO'd JC and shown no mercy up against the fence, though.
Yeah, solid armpit punch to put him away there at the end. Gotta love EA Sports UFC 4. But we do love EA Sports UFC 4. That was an exciting fight. Very tough matchup for JC. I think you see a lot of those strike-heavy guys, they don't like welterweight, and you can see why, because it's tough, man. There's so many good wrestlers who can strike with you. Even if you take, a Wonder Boy Thompson or a Masvidal, you're just at such a disadvantage. You don't really have much of an advantage on the feet. So it was a tough fight. JC had a couple moments, but Fadinator, man, still running strong. Had some adversity in the Holloway fight, but otherwise has been just a machine this tournament.
Yeah, he's been a machine, and you have to see the competition he faced to even get to the finale. He had to face Gamp, he had to face Holloway in a crazy matchup, and now he had to face JC21, and he was able to get a finish in every one of those fights and go on to the finale. So whoever's waiting on the other side, they best be ready because you're facing a prime example of competitor and Fadinator. But going on to the other side, and I'll go with you, Luber, a Bathing Ash, Jay Rabo, they saw that performance. They have scouted this opponent. They have to put a lot of pressure on themselves to even get into the finale. But now everything's on the line. How do you see this next matchup playing out?
Yeah, I think on paper, Jay Rabo is the favorite, right? If we get the Satchmo betting lines up, I'm sure they would say something like that. But Ash has been in this situation time and time again. I mean, he's going to be clear headed. He's going to play at his best. And we saw in that Liam fight, I mean, he's dialed in right now. He's looking clean and he's not afraid to, fight you. Like he's going to bring it to you the way he does. And Jay Robinson hasn't really had to deal with that. I mean, obviously Blake had some pressure on him, but he wasn't a maniac. He was intelligent. He did what he's supposed to do because Blake's a consummate, top end of the meta player. Ash plays, I mean, he knows the meta, he knows how to deal with the meta, but he plays his own way. And Jay Rabo's gonna have to deal with that. Plus, you get a little bit extra ping with the EU versus NA fight. And I believe was it you, Ricardo, was saying that Jay Rabo sometimes struggles with that ping?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it in the SFL when he fought like some Motown, who like you don't compare to the players like Blake Tyler with all respect to M Town. I mean, against the top tier fighters on good ping, Robbo can beat anyone. It's just then when it gets to like fighting North Americans and people like that, it then the ping just kind of affects his playstyle, and it'll be interesting to see how he fights against this one because he's improved a lot, but as he fixes problem being able to fight against people from like America, for example, because we've seen him lose fights where he shouldn't usually lose them just because of the ping because he can't get used to it. So we'll see if he's made them adjustments again in this one.
Well, if there's ever a time to get used to it, it would be now with a lot on the line. A spot in the finale is on the line for Jay, and it seems like we're going to welterweight. We see a bathing Ash and Jay going with Leon Edwards in this contest. I mean, I love the pick. We know there's a lot of clinching that Edwards could do, a lot of great kickboxing and power that he has in his hands and legs. It'll be interesting to see how this goes about in this finale because it's only one and done. The next fight would be a best of three, as we see Jay Robinson in the red gloves and red trunks. His opponent, his other semifinalist, a Bathing Ash, in the white trunks and blue gloves. This is it, your final semifinal matchup to get in the finale. Let's see what goes down. And right now, we're seeing just a push kick from a Bathing Ash being the aggressor, but the pulls and the body shots are landing for J Rob. He has to feel all the confidence in the world, but it's different going against a heavy competitor, as in Bathing Ash right here, Luber.
Yeah, this is crazy, man. Both guys coming out throwing different styles of shots. I like the Leon Edwards picks. You see a lot of diversity in strikes. He can kickbox, he can box, he can wrestle, he can clinch. I mean, he can do it all. So we'll see what these guys want to do with him. And the nice long range head kick landing for Ash. Like I said before, man, he's sniping today. He's landing clean from the outside.
Clean as a whistle, indeed. And you have to think with what they want to do, they can't really go all willy-nilly. They need to find a way to like change up the positions, change up and mix up their striking. And as you see, we're seeing Jay, he's landing the body, he's landing the head, he is using these body shots to the with his legs to open up his opponent. But every time you get close, every time you land a shot, a body shot that close, you leave your head up so open, being able to be punished. If they just put their leg and just go with these boxing strikes, that could be a lot of damage. But Ricardo, going to you, how do you feel about this fight so far?
I mean, it looks to me like they're both trying to take it in a slow pace. Both just trying to feel it out, similar to the last Bathing Ash fight with Liam. I mean, they're both just trying to figure each other out, and then maybe in the second round, that's when they're going to come out, and then with the reads that they have, then put the pressure on, and then try and make something happen.
Yeah, and so far with 2 minutes to go in this first round, we're seeing head kicks being landed a little bit more, getting a nice range and distance. But we're seeing Ash doing a nice job with a 1-2 into the body. While Jay trying to answer back, but not really getting into the range, trying to preemptively slip, knowing that could be another avenue for his victory. But the blood gauge being low for Ash right there. Needs to be careful fighting in the phone booth. But so far, Jay trying to find the pull, not able to get anything, and now he gets his out with a nice combination of Bathing Ash, trying to find the hooks to get a rock situation. But Luber, he needs to do a little bit more than that because it's not going to be easy now.
Yeah, it's interesting. Ash is wading his way into the pocket with strikes. So he's landing that first strike, putting himself in an advantage.
Oh my goodness! Ash able to predictably get the duck and the strikes, and now it just changes everything. Jay Robinson was not looking out for that. The head kick not landing, but Ricardo, very dangerous for Jay right there.
I mean, like I said numerous times in this tournament, head kicks, he can either put you big risk, big reward, and Robo took a big risk, and it backfired for him though.
Very
Yeah,
interesting.
we'd seen Ash throw at least 3 head kicks that landed. I mean, not landed hard enough to rock him or anything, but if anyone was gonna get punished for throwing the head kick, I would have guessed that Ash would be the one throwing it. And no, great read there to duck it, get the rock, win the round. I think he won the round without that rock. I think Ash is pulling away pretty clean here, but that was a big way to seal it for sure.
Absolutely.
Very big way indeed going to the second round right here. Again, whoever wins will go in best of 3 finals, and the polls are happy because these guys want it as badly as the other competitor. But we'll have to see. Ash pushing forward, trying to get his opponents back to the cage, trying to find a way to limit his movement. But Jay, able to be defensive, able to plant his feet, disrupt the black cage a little bit. Can he answer back? Trying to duck down, waiting for the kicks, but not able to get it landing out. Nice uppercut landing. As you see, the total strikes landed there, Looper. 57-39 in favor of Bathing Ash.
Such a frustrating spot to be in for Jay Robinson when your defense isn't working. Oh my goodness.
The rock landed, the head kick landed, and now to the ground and pound. Oh, this
he
kick
might
right
have-
here. He landed. Oh, Bathing Ash is in to your finale. The ground and pound. He was able to capitalize, and now he goes into a best of 3 against Fadinator.
A bathing Ash. How good did that guy look? Didn't miss any strikes. Defensively sound. Just took him apart. He looks like he's ready to take home $200. I think this man's trying to win a tournament.
I mean, I was talking to Ash when the tournament got released, and he found out he would be playing in it, and he was saying he felt confident he could take it home. Let me just get these messages up from him that he said.
No, you're do what you gotta do. But continuing on to the point that you were talking about, Bathing Ash, he had a crazy route to go into the finale. Had to beat Samurai Robin, had to beat KM Liam, and now defeating Jay Robbo to go against Fadinator. What an impressive showing. And it seemed like he wasn't as in much danger. He had a bunch of game competitors, but it's been just prime example of what you need to do. Once you get that first warm up, now you get into your rhythm, and now you're feeling like you're very confident going to a best of 3. But Luber, going to this best of 3, now it's a whole different game. Now it's not just one and done. You need to beat your opponent twice and get the victory. How do you feel about the circumstances that he's going into?
Man, I love this matchup, Ash versus Fadinator. I mean, obviously, we've been talking all day as if Fadinator's the favorite, but I don't think Ash is hearing any of that, man.
No.
I think he's seen himself as a favorite all night because he's fighting like it. He's fighting with confidence. He's, not letting off the pedal when he starts to get a win. You see that sometimes when somebody's not expected to win, they'll start to get a lead and then they'll kind of back off, and that can backfire. Ash he's out for blood, man. He's throwing together slick combinations. His head movement's on point. We were talking earlier, Ricardo pointed out how he did some preemptive slips because he set them up. He knew exactly what was coming his way. And Ash has amazing mechanics. His reaction time is great. All that stuff, definitely he has it. But when you can anticipate, that adds so much to your reaction time. That makes you faster than anyone else when you know what's about to happen. And that seems to be where he's at. He's locked in. He's dialed in. But on the opposite side, Fadinator is in the same place, man. He had a tough fight versus Holloway, but every step along the way outside of that, he has looked like he is ahead of his opponent. He looks like he knows what's about to happen, and he executes. And so both guys playing at this level, I can't wait to see what happens.
It's going to be really interesting. The FSK Invitational has been nothing but blockbuster after blockbuster with these fights. And now the fact that we're guaranteed at least 2 fights, but the fact that this could all end up in a tiebreaker, it just writes the script itself. And I can't wait to see what happens. But Ricardo, going back to you with a Bathing Ash, making it all the way to the finale in the best of 3 against Fadinator, what do you think he's going to bring to the table going into this finale right here?
I mean, it's all on the line. You might have felt pressure in the earlier fights now, but now is really where the pressure ramps up. You might have been feeling a little bit sweaty, but a little bit shaky, but now it ramps up to the max. This is where it matters. The final, everyone's watching it. All the 16 competitors who have been in this, only 2 are standing now. So it all means this now. Obviously, it's best out of 3. So Fad is the better seed. So he hasn't said what he's doing yet. I'll have a look at his stream. He's not in the lobby yet. We'll give him a minute because Ash has only just fought. But
Yeah,
I mean,
and going to that, Ricardo,
mhm,
like we have three options for weights. We
yeah.
have lightweight, welterweight, and middleweight. In this kind of circumstances, do you have an inkling of what possibly could be the favorite division of these competitors right here?
Hmm, I don't know because I'd always think of Fad as someone who'll want to use like a fast fighter, and
Hmm.
I'd expect him to pick lightweight, but I just don't think he's going to do it. I don't know why, but yeah,
Yeah,
I'd
and
assume he's going lightweight.
yeah, I would love to see lightweight. It's the only division that we haven't seen so far. But going on the other side of the coin, and Luber, I'll give it to you. We've seen lightweight and middleweight. We know what these guys can do in those weight divisions. Do you feel like there might be a little bit of comfortability going to one of those divisions, or do you risk it into the unknown going to the lightweight division?
It kind of comes down to the psychology of Fadinator because, as Ricardo was saying, he is somebody who really thrives in those fast paced, high mechanical situations. But that's also where Ash's real strength is traditionally. I mean, Ash can wrestle defensively for sure. And he can, and if you try to force the wrestling on him, he will punish you. But I think when you move up to welterweight or even middleweight, you kind of get that weapon in your pocket as Fatinator. So the question is, do you want to fight where you're at your best, or do you want to fight where your opponent, where you have the strongest advantage over him? So that's why it's an interesting decision. And of course, the matchups themselves as you go through the weight class, the rules are you can only use a fighter one time. So if they go 3 fights, you got to have 3 fighters in that division you're ready to use. Lots of wrestlers at welterweight. You might be able to get Ash, running out of options for him there. And then at
Mhm.
middleweight, that I mean, I don't even know how the meta breaks down after a couple fights there. So, yeah, it's just it's. I think anything will work. Is you got some gains, some losses from any of those decisions. I'm excited to see what they do here.
And just to confirm quickly, Ricardo, there's no mirror matches, or is it any pick available is allowed? Like, what's the ruling again for the finale?
So basically, it's the best out of three. The better seed can either pick the weight out of the three, which was lightweight, welterweight, and middleweight. The better
Hmm.
seed can. The other option is also let their opponent pick it, and then they get the first pick. There is no mirrors allowed, and once you've used a fighter, you can't then use them again.
So that changes everything. Usually we've been seeing mirror matches throughout the previous rounds, but now it's different. Now, if you ban a fighter or if you give your opponent the choice of weight division, that changes all of the mind games that you had. You can't go with a similar fighter, and if you choose one fighter, you probably can't choose them again in the second fight. So, Looper, going back to you, just that has to play a lot in the strategy. That's like 3D level chess in a way.
Yeah, it's almost too many variables to account for, right? You can't
Mhm.
really say, "Oh, I know exactly." I mean, maybe if these guys have really been putting in some effort, some forethought, but I think it's more of just a comfort thing. You don't want to be doing something you're not comfortable with. So I would expect Fadinator to go with if he's choosing weight class rather than deferring. I would expect him to go somewhere he feels like he has 3 fighters. But yeah, it's a definitely we saw this in the esports summer series, this kind of matchup style, and I think it does gives you. I mean, you eliminate mirror matches, so a lot of the people watching this tournament today, most of these guys in this audience are grinders, man. They know the game in and out. They don't mind mirror matches. They like them. It's fun to see really who's the better on that fighter. But um, we're going to get some more diversity in strategy, and I think at the top level that matters quite a bit. Not being able to just go into your mirror match and know what to expect. You have to have these other dynamic things in mind as you fight, and that's a skill. I mean, it comes with experience. It comes with practice. And I think that for both these guys, it's going to be no problem. I think both these guys put in the hours. They're very, very good players. And I think it's just going to be interesting to see what they do in these matchups.
Absolutely. And Ricardo, we're only moments away from going to the finale, but have Fadner made a decision of what
Yeah,
weight class
I
they're going
have
to be?
some news if you'd like to hear it.
Oh, go ahead.
So Fad was a better seed, so obviously he had the option. He can either have first pick or the weight. He decided to pick the weight, and he decided to go with lightweight. So then
Mm.
Ash, with the first pick, has picked Dustin Poirier. So Fad looks to be going Conor McGregor.
Wow. So Dustin Poirier versus Conor McGregor. Now, do we know if it's vintage or?
It's
Oh,
lightweight, so it's the ball big Conor McGregor.
is the current Conor McGregor. So that changes everything. So that's where the game plan goes. I mean, you can't really have the same character as you want, but Dustin Poirier versus Conor McGregor, Bathan Ash, he probably has the advantage going to the fire selection screen right here, Luber, right?
It's one of those matchups that there's a reason why Fadnader, both these guys can play Poirier and McGregor, and they've both seen this matchup time and time again. We're probably going to get a swip swap. I don't know. Maybe Fadnader doesn't like Poirier, but I would imagine after
Hopefully it
this
is.
fight, I think, Bad Knitter will go on Poirier, Ash will go on McGregor. And so really the matchups things in the third fight is where it'll get really interesting. But I think stats wise, obviously McGregor has some pretty big flaws that he's going to be giving up to Poirier, but with the techniques he has, the smoothness of his striking, it kind of balances out. And I think that this is going to be a really, really good striking matchup.
All right, before we get things started, sorry, I want to hear from both of you guys. Who do you have in the best of three? Starting with you, Ricardo.
Fad.
You got five, and then Luber going to you.
The fans, man, the fans win.
There you have it, a nice cop out as we're into the best of three finale of the FSK Invitational live here on YouTube. I am your commentator, Kingsley. Alongside me is Luber and FSK Ricardo. We're in for a barn burner finale again. Fadnader in the red gloves using Conor McGregor, and then on the other side of Bathing Nash in the blue using Dustin Poirier. And right now, seeing different strategy, nice combinations landing from Bathing Nash and getting the better of these strikes right here. And this is what you want to see from Bathing Nash. Get aggressive, get the takedown, but a nice now from his competitor, Fadnader. And this is what you want to see in the finale, Luber.
Yeah, no hesitation there, going right for that hip toss. Good late denial from Fadnader, but it makes you think right now. You're like, oh, Ash might want to wrestle. He's got Poirier. He's got the advantage there. So very, very smart move, I think, on Ash's part, even if that's not part of the overall game plan.
Oh, lovely counter from
Yeah, very lovely indeed. And so far, Fadnader trying to use those uppercuts, but he's getting punished every time he's on the phone booth right here. But Ash just land his opponent, get some punches in, trying to goad his opponent. But you see the swivel trying to get into the range right here, Ricardo. This is what he needs to do if he wants to get his opponent to just like make him cause a mistake a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Fad just doing it himself. Ash taking it slow again. We've seen him with this approach in his last two fights. I think he just likes to take it slow, feel it out, and then go from there. Obviously, we've seen the adjustments he made in them fights. So it'll be interesting to see what he does as the fight goes on in this one.
Yeah, and I'm loving the body combinations that we're seeing for Poirier, just able to land on the body. And the combinations landing Luber, the sweet science of it has been working so nicely. You feel like the momentum has to keep on and on if this keeps continuing into the second round, because it's not only 3 rounds, we have a 5-round finale of the best of 3.
Yeah, good point. 5 rounds here to get through. McGregor, we talked about how there are some stats disadvantages. His cardio, I don't know what the number is on it, but it can't be as good as Poirier's. So definitely something to keep an eye on as we go here. And even if Fadnader is so good, he can fight in a way where he won't gas out. What was that?
I was just saying nice because I think he landed a combo.
Yeah, Ash is looking sharp here. Fadnader can protect his stamina, but it's going to limit his offensive choices, right? He can't burn himself out, so he's got to do certain things to fight that way. And so, what he can do is punch Ash in the face as hard as he can. Good shot there. Nice little cheeky right hook. Almost caught him clean there, too.
Not even punch. You can also kick him straight in the face, because that landed very nicely for Fadnader. But now, a Bathing Ash able to counter, grab him, and almost had that spinning back elbow to the face. But you see, very close, 37-33 in favor of total strikes of Fadnader. But the significant strikes, you had to go with a Bathing Ash. But in the second round, again, if they win this, they have the advantage going into the second round, because it is a best of 3. And a rock like that will give you advantage, as Fadnader has unlocked the strategy and is able to get the first rock of the contest right here, Luber.
Yeah, it was a rock, but not a lot of damage on it. Kind of caught him in a weird spot. Ash able to back up, get his stamina back right away. Good for the stats, but right now he's got to keep on it. He's got to keep good work coming out. Ooh, land a couple more big slips, get some momentum in his favor, because Ash is looking sharp, man. He's landing clean. Look at that.
He's looking sharp, but he's also looking deadly as he's getting pieced up right now, getting a rock of his own. And Ricardo, this is what Fadinator needs to do. He needs to enter back, but not get in a trade where he leaves himself open. He's attacking the body, he's getting that block gauge low, and it's working well to his benefit.
I mean, the one thing I'd say Fad needs to be careful is that pull elbow from Ash. There it is
There
again.
it is.
I mean, I think Ash is getting a little bit desperate, a little bit flustered. He seems to be going to it constantly time again. Fad probably just needs to adjust and rip the body a little bit more to put him off from pulling, really.
Yeah, and we'll have to see what happens as we have 3 minutes left in the second round, not nearly into the championship rounds just yet. But Fadinator is acting like a champion, getting a nice strikes to the body, answering back, getting that block gauge low, but again, needs to be careful. Every time he pushes in, his opponent is planting down and able to land the strikes a little bit faster. But that block gauge, Luber, you have to see compared to his opponent, but pulls don't even matter. But here we go, a bathing Ash. Can he find his way? Can he enter it? We saw things land, but a nice slip will change the equation right there, Luber.
Yeah, it's that pull elbow time and time again. Ash so good at sniffing that hook or uppercut or whatever it is coming and countering over the top with that elbow. Really a fight changer for him, but it's a 5-round fight. So yes, great sequence there, but look at how low Ash's block is. I was watching that as we were going. Fadinator's been peppering him with the lead jab, lead hook, just keeping that lead hand going, and Ash is suffering for it. He's in a tough spot right now, but the great equalizer still on the table, that pull elbow.
Nice.
Fad has to find an answer for it.
Yeah, but how long can you rely on that so much? If you keep on going for trades and keep on getting elbows with that, the head health blinking so much, Fadinator, I feel like he feels comfortable of just staying here for the rest of the minute and maybe just taking it to the third round right here, Ricardo.
I mean, two big damaging positions there. Side control, obviously for the elbows, and then sprawl for the body. I mean, doing great damage there now. Even though we did get dropped, I'd say he still is in the better place in terms of the stats at the moment.
Yeah, very in a beneficial situation for him for his stamina. But again, needs to watch out for the pulls.
Oh.
It gets a little bit dangerous, like right there. If that was a Conor McGregor, that could have been another rock opportunity. But these moments, you can smell blood in the water, but you need to be very, very careful. And as we get into the third round, very close, 16-11 in significant strikes in favor of a bathing Ash, but the total strikes still again in favor of Fadinator. So anything is possible going this third round right here, Luber.
Yeah, it's interesting to see. Oof, little pool party coming out there. Ash loves to rotate to his left, to the lead hand of Fadinator. Fadinator's been all over it all fight, but you see Ash starting to make some adjustments, starting to dip his head to the right more. So the adjustments as they come out here, we'll see if Fadinator makes a read on it, if that turns into anything. But at this point in the fight, Fad can also just sit down, block a couple punches, come back big, and break the block and win. I mean, he's got a lot of options to take this fight over right now.
Oh!
He has a lot of options, but not a lot of time. Oh, the pull absolutely lands, and that is it. Fadinator takes round one of the best of three finale, and that is going to be a game changer. The stamina was low, the health in the block gauge was low for Bathing Ash, not able to capitalize, but Fadinator, as you said, Ricardo, was in a great position going into the later rounds.
I mean, all Fad has to do now is one more of that. I think he's come wise to Ash's biggest weapon, that was that pull elbow. I mean, he started pulling it towards the end, so, and that is how we're going to get the finish. So, if Fad can just do that again in the next one, I think it's just going to go straight forward again for him. Obviously, I think he's going to go Dustin Poirier, Ash is going to go McGregor. So it's going to be a mirror match of what we just seen. But yeah, it's going to be intriguing to see how both of them make adjustments in this one. Will Ash carry on with that slow start, or will he look to switch up his ways, like maybe pressure Fad this time? Who knows?
Yeah, I like that. I like that idea of switching. I think if both competitors stay in cruise control, if they fight their normal fight, we saw Fad was getting the advantage pretty much everywhere, especially in the striking. Especially in like those short exchanges where you're only throwing a few punches. He was landing first. Ash wasn't really getting a lot of offense back. When they extended the exchange, when they went longer, Ash was able to get those pulls and land some big shots. But yeah, I think Ash really does need to. I mean, he needs to outsmart him. He needs to be clever, or he needs to do something we're not expecting. We'll have to see what he's got in his pockets here.
Well, this is it for a Bathing Ash. If he doesn't win, we will have Fadinator as the winner of the FSK Invitational. But if we see Ash win this, it goes into a tiebreaker with different fighters. So here we go, and already a bathing ass already coming in hot and heavy. Knows his back is to the wall. Well, again, Fatinator, it's easy to get that first victory in the best of 3, but the most dangerous and hard thing to do is get that
Oh,
second one.
big
And he's
start
already
from Ash.
eliminated right now as he gets rocked. Fatinator with all the stamina is put onto his opponent right here, Luber.
Man, it's Ash who's out strong, throwing these 4-piece combinations, landing them clean. You can see Fatinator's head health has been below half most of this fight. No hesitation from Ash, just changing strategy. Ricardo kind of sniffed it out, a little more aggression, I think, and it's working, but it could get him countered. He's eating 2 big shots right there. He's got to be careful. Both guys getting very close to getting dropped.
I mean, we've seen the adjustments already. Ash was loving the pull elbow. Fad made the adjustment of going to pull the pull elbow. Ash is now pulling with a straight, and now we see Fad whenever he's trying to pull do a back step. So it's intriguing the way how this one's playing out.
Yeah, very intriguing. And again, the 5 rounds, the stamina is going to come into play. But right now, we're seeing Fatinator taking his time, able to find his avenues, attacking the body with the straight. But right now, again, the bathing Ash standing still, but not able to land. It's going to be amount of the trades that both players can take. Can Conor McGregor able to be durable enough to avoid these trades? Because uppercuts like that will change the strategy. And this could be it. First round, but no. Fatinator doing a nice job right there, Ricardo.
I mean, Fad has to survive this round, get the recovery from in between rounds, and then go again. If I'm Fad, I'm trying just to survive this round. You've got 2 minutes, you got a long time, maybe try and shoot a takedown. Obviously, you've got the advantage of Poirier, but I wouldn't risk anything in this round personally.
Yeah, I think also what we're seeing here is really the McGregor advantage, right? We saw in the first fight, Fatinator was able to keep Ash at bay with the strikes from McGregor because of that power threat, because of how quick he takes down your block with his jab. Now, not really worried about those counter strikes coming back. Ash has been able to be way more aggressive. He's eaten a couple shots, but you can see in the health stats just really winning these exchanges hard.
Yeah, but the amount of stamina that a Bathing Ash is using, he's on a timeline. If this gets to the 3rd round, he might be like very desperate, because Fatinator, he's not going to use all his stamina in one blow. Well, it seems like a Bathing Ash is going to risk it all for everything very quickly. So if he doesn't get this finish anytime soon, it might be Fatinator's a match to lose. But as we go into the 10-second right here, this could be a chance. He needs to find a way to get a finish right here, but he will not. But the timeline is still happening. He needs to get a finish in the 2nd round, or it might be damaging in going into the 3rd round right here, Luber.
Yeah, one of my favorite counters to the teeth here, the straight punch, just time it up and catch him on the chin as they're throwing that kick. Really good work from Ash here. If he stays aggressive like this, yes, stamina could be an issue, but you can see already he's good. He's got some stamina to go here, and the head health of Fatinator is so low. Even the block is taking quite a beating so far, so definitely Fatinator in a heap of trouble. Over him.
He has enough, but the defensive shell, the slipping, the head movement is so nice, and going to the ground game as Fatinator gets a nice takedown into side control. And Ricardo, that's what he needed. He needed to find a way to change it up a little bit, get out of it, but can he do any damage on the ground?
This is great from Ash though. He's got out of side control, he's then got to sprawl, and he's just stopped Fad's transition. So Ash is doing everything that he really needs to do. He needs to be wary of that body health, but with a head health advantage that he does have, I don't think it matters too much. Quick stand-up.
And yeah, very quick stand-up. I'm surprised that the referee didn't let that go a little bit longer, but I guess he didn't see a lot of action happening. But this is to the benefit of Bathing Ash. Can Ash find a way to get into his opponent as he's trying to land these combinations, trying to go for a straight first? But right now, Poirier, he needs to keep his head movement, because the head movement is his only motive to survive. But again, the head of is just one little touch, one little straight, and that could be another rock right there, Luber.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost a go next angle for Fatinator at this point. He's in a lot of trouble. I mean, he can still win the fight, and obviously in this sport, you have to keep trying. There's no reason not to. But he's almost, you're almost at a point where how do you win this fight? I don't know, man. He's in a heap of trouble. The straight,
there it is. And that could be it. A Bathing Ash will go into a tiebreaker, a winner-take-all final matchup. Different fighters. Who is going to take it? We will find out. But Bathing as basking in the glory of the round 2 victory. Who is going to win? We'll have to find out here, guys. But speaking of that performance, Ricardo, going to you. How impressive was a Bathing Ash in that second fight?
I mean, he come out and he made the adjustments. We're sitting pressure heavy instead of sitting on the back foot. From that, he got an early rock and then just took control. Fad couldn't really seem to get anything off, and Ash was perfect in that second one. And coming into this third fight as well, obviously there's no mirrors, and Ash will get the first pick at the fighter. So Fad really is going to get the fourth best fighter in this weight. So that could be a tricky one for Fad coming into this one.
Is it Gaethje? Are we going to see Ash locking Justin Gaethje, or is there somebody else out there?
I presume Dos Anjos. I'd say Dos Anjos is the third best pick, and then it's just the fourth one, really. The fourth one's up for grabs.
That makes sense. I forgot about RDA there, lingering.
Well, this is why I'm so impressed with what the tournament is, along with the seeding, along with the group play. You had to really fight and strategize to win this tournament. There's no just like, oh, you fight and you pick your guy and that's it. You really had to go through the mental gauntlet of every single fight to get into a position right here. And the fact that it's just a tiebreaker at the end of it, as we see Charles Oliveira might be selected for Fatinator. Will we see a Bathing Ash probably go with a Gaethje? I mean, there's still Khabib. You could go, but a Volkanovski going against Oliveira. Luber, how do you feel about this matchup right here for the tiebreaker?
You know, Volkanovski, I've never personally been able to make him work, but when people do make him work, he's scary, man. He's small, but he hits like a truck. He's got no real flaws in his game. His ground game's very good, especially in a matchup like this one against Oliveira, where, yes, there's like a weird submission threat, a couple other things, but Fad's going to be relying heavily on something like elbows and teeps. And I just think with Volkanovski, you can punish that so hard. If Fatinator makes any mistakes, Ash will be all over him.
This is it, ladies and gentlemen. This is your final matchup in the FSK Invitational. All the marbles are on the line as we see Oliveira being used by Fatinator in the red gloves, a Bathing Ash using Volkanovski with his leg kicks in the blue. Already Volkanovski putting it on to Oliveira right now. And this is what we need to see from Bathing Ash. He needs to continue what he did in round 2 and going to Volkanovski because we know he has the power, he has the leg kicks, he has everything you need to win this fight, Ricardo.
I mean, it's a very counter-active style. Obviously, Volkanovski, he has the great anti-wrestling and the great striking to push the pace. And with Oliveira, he can win everywhere. He's so durable. Great striking, unreal wrestling as well. One of the best bridges to win the game. So, it'll be interesting to see how Fad approaches this one. He looks to be going to wrestle with Oliveira as well. So it'll be interesting to see how he does in this one. Oh, nice takedown defense finish.
Yeah, and that has to be the X factor in this whole contest. Oliveira, unreal jiu-jitsu, unreal submission game. So you have to think a Bathing Ash is going to be looking out for that. And his takedowns now have to be on point. But for Volkanovski, he has the knees and the kicks and everything. And Luber going to that, that has to be a game changer for him, knowing that he has the legs on the side along with his striking.
Yeah, you know, I saw 2 teeps and 1 knee come out for Fatinator. I really think that's the only way he's going to keep Volkanovski off him is then he tries the knee there. But Ash is so good, and he knows that's going to coming from somebody like Oliveira.
Oh.
It's a tough spot to be in for Fatinator, but there are so many weapons you get with Oliveira, and you can change the course of the fight very quickly with him. Get it to the ground, you're in great shape. Land a big, kick, you're in great shape. You can stun him to the body pretty quick like that. So it's just a waiting game for Fatinator. He's got to find that opening, find a way to turn this fight around because it's a 5-round fight. He can get a lot of work done with just a few shots.
I mean, one thing with Ash is pit Volkanovski and the animations of Charles Oliveira, they're quite slow. So if you're pushing the boxing range, is what Ash seems to be doing very well here.
Ooh, to the body.
I mean,
not a lot of damage, but totally gassed in there. Huge advantage. But yeah, definitely. I think that's what was confusing to me about the matchup is that I can't see a scenario where Fatinator can just outright box with him, right?
Yeah. He has to use teeps more, kicks more, and just point fight really, I'd say, because the animations of Oliveira do not favour boxing at all.
Yeah, and that's the key thing that I wanted to harp on when you were talking, Ricardo, that you need to point fight. And with these kind of 5 round fights, you can lose two and still get back in it in the 3 final rounds. So it's all about strategy of where you want to implement your whole game plan. Right now, we're seeing 41-30 in favor of a Bathing Ash. I think strikes, significant strikes were also in favor of Bathing Ash. So he's getting some avenues, he's getting some openings. Now it's all about, can you use your stamina to the best of its abilities? Can you work on the uppercuts and get your opponent to make a mistake with his slipping? We'll have to find out in the second round of this winner take all best of 3 tiebreaker. And
Nice
right now,
interception.
we're seeing Fenner taking on to him, Ricardo.
I mean, it's a very tough one because it's so back and forth this fight. There we go. Ash with the first big roll.
Oh,
My
boy.
god, this could be it.
That's
Oh
it.
my god, no way. There's no way. He's blocking it. It's working, but so many times and just barely. Those blocks from the hook. Oh, he's going for it again. A Bathing Ash has not much stamina, but this is the danger right here. He needs to get back up. He can't be in this situation right here because Patinator knows that he has Oliveira. He could go for a submission, and this could be damaging, and that's a very smart move. Take it back to the stand-up. You have all the success. You can't leave it now. And it's just spin to win here, Luber.
Yeah, but he pulled it. Ash pulled that spinning back elbow. Very well done. You know, it's funny. A really tough spot there for Fedinator. The fight was basically over. Now, using Oliveira, I feel like now he's got him where he wants him, right? You got to get at least almost finished once as a Charles Oliveira player. Now the fight's really starting.
Yeah, and this is where he wants to be. Well, Fedinator needs to find a heart of a champion to find his way back right here. As we see, a Bathing Ash trying to goad his opponent into doing a maneuver. And the slip straight, able to land. He needs to find a way to end, but the stamina is low. Here's the thing: the head health is low. Behind of that stamina is gonna be low, but the straight knocks him down, going back into the ground game. And oh my goodness, this is what Fedinator wants. He has top position, but he needs to avoid those transition denials. This is a very dangerous position for Bathing Ash here, Ricardo.
I mean, now Fad gets side control, and we've seen this position before, and Ash has been able to get to sprawl. It'll be interesting to see if Fad's more alert to that in this one.
Are the undeniable from bottom sprawl banned in this tournament?
I don't think they are.
Ash didn't use them last time, so I don't think I'd expect him to go back to it. And really good job there building up the grapple advantage and slipping out from the side control position.
I mean, we've seen Fad do a spin elbow. It's just, with Oliveira, you can be desperate. You've got the death kick, you've got the spin elbow. It'll be interesting to see if he does do that, especially with money on the line.
Yeah, and with 50 seconds to go in the second round right here, that head health is consistently
Hey, this could be it.
As Ash, can he win it? Will he win the Invitational? He will not. 30 seconds. Can we see Fedinator do something differently? Trying to go for a pot shot, possibly? He does. Here we go. Can he get some damage back on his opponent? He has 15 seconds left. He has his screen red. He could go for another pot shot, but no. Bathing Ash playing with fire here. Trying to go with a knee and doesn't land. Very interesting second round right there, ladies and gentlemen. But Luber, going to you. Third round. This has to be it. I feel like we're going to get a winner here.
Yeah, I mean, we've just seen Ash execute in this situation all night. When he has this head health advantage, he sticks in the pocket. He might eat a jab or something. But if you're watching, Fad can't even land a jab right now. Ash is just so quick with those slip counters. And every time Fadinator tries to lead the dance, he ends up getting popped on the chin. Now with his chin health so low, that could be the end of the fight. So really, really tough spot still. Ash just got to bring it home, just execute, not get taken down.
Commentator's cursor.
Yeah, I mean, that might be his avenue to win. He needs to go into the ground game and try to find a way to possibly see a submission. That could be his one avenue. But right now, just trying to get a little pot shot, trying to the transition gets into side right here. But can it go for a pot shot?
He gets to deny.
That's going to be big. Or let's see. Forearms landing. He knows he's landing these.
Oh
my goodness. Can we see the comeback of dreams right here for Fadinator? But Luber, this has to be challenging for Bathing Ash right here.
That was a great transition right away. Ash needed to stop that because he had the ability to do the get up against the cage that would have brought it back to their feet, where he can win this fight in one exchange on the feet, but on the ground, It's just such a tough spot.
Oh,
No,
look at
he's
that.
not getting beat up, right? Ash isn't getting ground and pounded. He's not about to get submitted. But every moment that passes is this fight getting closer. Fadnader having a chance to win this fight. And then just one mistake, one denial, one bad position, and he might get postured up on, and some big shots could rain down. So very, very tough spot for
Oh,
Ash to
reversal.
execute. But yes, good time that one up. Got the sweep there.
Yeah, got the sweep there, but again, working against the clock.
Oh, almost
You
had it.
see right here, good denials. Oh, the stamina's low for Fadnader. Fadnader, what can he possibly do right here?
This could be
Gets
brutal
my
for the
strike
fight.
in, but it's going to be very close. Under 2 minutes left. Bathing Ash.
Oh, he stands up. Questionable.
Questionable. He's been getting a lot of good strikes. I think he doesn't want to
Oh, he's
cancel takedown.
dropped.
And gets a hit. A nice combination. Fadnader trying to answer back with a takedown, and he gets it. 1:30 left in the third round. Could we possibly see championship rounds right here, Luber?
Yeah, I mean, he could definitely wrestle his way to the end of the round here, but really Fadnader needs to do something with that ground position, right? Gets him to oh my goodness.
Oh my God! And that is it. Bathing Ash is your winner and champion of the FSK Invitational. What a comeback of dreams, being down the first round and able to win it all, going back to back. Incredible showing by Bathing Ash there, Luber.
Whole elbow to seal the deal. Yes, he is winning the fight anyway, but he brings it home with what we could call his signature move of the tournament. One of his best techniques, definitely. Ash, man, the guy's been around forever. He's seen every kind of competition. He shows up to a $200 cash prize tournament with some of the best players in the world, and he walks through them. What a performance from a bathing Ash to take home the gold.
I mean, that was. I don't think one person picked Ash to win it, and he come from the group stages, from the first night of the group stages, won his group, won every single fight but the one into Fad in the finale. I mean, Ash surely has to be proud of the way I performed tonight.
He takes the money, he takes the winning, he takes all the glory. $200 is going to in his bank account, and well deservedly so. Incredible showing, and I think we couldn't ask for like anything less, people. I mean, we had a tiebreaker, a best of three. Every single fight, I have lost my breath. I had to take a swig of water because I was sweating because this actually was hot and heavy. But Ricardo, overall, how do you feel about this whole entire event and Bathing Nash being your champion of the Invitational?
I mean, unbelievable from start to finish, really. Like I said, we just put Ash the winner here just to confirm it. There we go. Behaving Ash, the winner of the FSK Invitational. I mean, like I said, no one predicted him, and that is the best part of these tournaments. When an underdog who no one picks comes through, beats everyone. We had upsets all around tonight. Like I said, we had Optics doing that. We had Liam stepping in on about 5 minutes notice. We had J Robbo. We had Keselado almost pulling off an upset as well. So, I mean, it was just a great night of fights all around.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Oh,
and
go ahead,
Ash,
Luber.
yeah, sorry about that. Ash bringing it home for the TD guys. They had a tough day. Jamie and Holloway getting matched up right away against each other. Holloway having to fight Fadnader after that. It wasn't looking great, but Ash over there on that far side of the bracket just taking it home for the guys there. Great showing. I know FSK and TD, there's some crossover, maybe some potential working together as a team. So really showing up for this tournament at both rosters.
Absolutely. Yeah. Share a Discord now, so that one should be interesting with the way how Fad and Ash will be after it. Like I said, two of the nicest guys in the community, so I can't see him being anything but respectful. Ash, one of the nicest guys in the community. Like when I told him about this tournament and he said he wanted to play in it, he said he's confident and he was going to bring the money back to New York, and that he has done. So I'm sure he'll be very proud of himself. I know he had to get this day off work, and I think he went through some trouble doing that. So I think he'll more than made up for getting that day off work and going through the trouble.
Yeah, that's definitely a hard day's work, and his journey has ended as the champion. But guys, we're not done yet because we need to figure out who is gonna get the $60 performance bonus. Going with you, Luber. Who do you think? Who's your vote for performance bonus of the night?
So we were talking about it being based on individual fights. Ricardo, is a best of three? Would we combine those three fights into one, or is it just one fight from those three?
Just one fight.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going with optics, man. That fight versus Dabikin, second fight on the card. There were so many good fights, and I hate that we have to just pick one and say that's it. I wish we could give everybody a little performance bonus. But yeah, I think overall, in terms of the difficulty, the way they did it, the execution in the moment, yeah, FSK Optics, well done, kid, man. You look great.
Kingsley?
Oh, you know what? I had four contenders. That finale was really good, but I think I have to agree with you, Luber. Just the way Optics handled Dabikin, not saying like handle like he did easily, but just the way he just put a hell of a performance against Dabikin of his stature. I feel like I have to give it to Optics.
Um,
Your vote doesn't matter.
yeah, uh,
But like who would you've gone with? Like if like this is a discussion, we have to decide.
yeah.
So I want to make it a unanimous whole thing.
Well, I thought you was going to go with someone else. That's why I asked you to go first. So I was just going to go out to make it interesting. But yeah, I would have
Ooh,
went the
okay.
same.
Yeah.
So
So congratulations, FSK Optics. You win the performance of the night, getting $60 along with Ash winning the pot. And also we have people who won bounties. Am I right, Ricardo?
yes, Ash winning one of them as well. So that prize goes to 220.
Okay, hey, shoot, that's like 2 days of work right there. God dang it!
Yeah. So coming out of it, we get JC taking the bonus from the left side. We see a Babe and Ash taking the bounty from the right side, and then the performance bonus goes to Optics, and then the winners pot goes to the one and only Babe and Ash.
Incredible. A lot of people getting a lot of money. It was a heck of a tournament. But before we shut things down, I just want to say thank you, FSK Ricardo, for putting this whole thing together and inviting me and Luber onto this commentary booth. It has been such an amazing night of fights. I
Oh,
can't wait to see more of what you do and along with this off season. It's absolutely incredible. Luber, you got any final words?
I mean,
Yeah, man. If we didn't have this UFC pay per view about to start up, I'd say let's
Oh my
run it
god.
back again. Let's get everyone
Oh,
together. We'll start it all over. This was so fun to be a part of. Ricardo, competitor, if you're watching, guys, thank you guys for putting this together. The FSK team, you guys have been doing so much. I know you do Formula One racing, you do money tournaments, you have teams you're putting together, and so all that work you're putting back in the community is just amazing stuff, guys. And thank you personally for me. I had so much fun being part of this. I'm looking forward to doing it again if you'll have me back.
yeah, sure. In the future, I appreciate both kind words. Appreciate you both hopping on doing comms tonight. I like how you say you like to hop on more in the future, and with that, we have an announcement to make. Monday Night Fights. We'll now be hosting weekly cards every Monday at 8:30 p.m. BST. So that is the same time as what the group stages was. Staff sign-ups will be posted in the FSK Discord over the next couple of days. Positions wanted, we're looking for commentators, wranglers, matchmakers, and record keeping, just so the league can advance further. So then I don't have to do it all. So then we can progress and do other big things as well. So if you're interested in doing any of the follow, sign-ups will be live in the Discord. So just put your name down, and then that should be a great one. But the most important thing tonight, a baby Nash, who takes it all home. He takes on 220 with a bounty in the prize pool, so the night belongs to him. Look, we hope, yeah, hope everyone has a great night. Hope everyone enjoys UFC, whatever they're doing. I'm going out myself, so I think I deserve it with everything I've done for this tournament. But
absolutely.
but yeah, Luba, Kingsley, thank you both. Jakey, Suave Jamer, Optics, Grains, Dirty Dave, Ginger, everyone for doing comms. Nige, Optics for doing the wrangling. Optics again for helping out writing all the information stuff for you guys. Just thank you to everyone who took part. Thank you to everyone who watched the event, and thank you to everyone who took part. It was a great event. Yous made it what it was, so I thank you all for that. But any final words, lads?
Uh, Thank you so much for having us. Thank you for just putting on such amazing fights and everyone in the back who just like put this all together and made it smooth as possible. Couldn't ask for anything more, and hope to do this again in the future.
Absolutely, yeah. Doing a one in the future, absolutely. We look forward to that one. But like I said, the night belongs to Baby Nash. Look forward to the next one when that does come around. But like I said, it belongs a while to Baby Nash now, so congrats to him. But that is over and out for us. Luba, would you like to say anything before we hop off?
Happy July 4th weekend to all my American friends. Enjoy your 3-day weekends if you got them. And everybody who tuned in, thank you guys for being part of this. We'll see you.